So the final draft constitution written by the Supreme Court appointed COA, जो कि AIFF को अभी currently run कर रहा है, was sent to the state FAs. Now, state FAs have replied to FIFA, to AFC, objecting जो 22 demands हैं यहाँ पे COA की, and they have written to them saying कि ये काफ़ी सारे जो इनके demands हैं न्यू कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में वो थोड़े से illogical हैं. The state FAs have said कि इनको स्पोर्ट्स कोड से कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, उसको रन करना चाहिए. They don't even have any problem with the FIFA statutes. इनको प्रॉब्लम है यहाँ पे सिंपल क्लॉजेस थे विच दे कैन नॉट एक्सेप्ट. अब यहाँ पे COA ने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में क्या चेंजेस लाए हैं. देयर हैव ऑल्सो बीन रिपोर्टेड न्यूज़ अबाउट द फैक्ट कि आई लीग को इंडिया की प्राइमरी लीग बनाया जाएगा एंड नॉट ISL. आई लीग को अपर हैंड दिया जाएगा जस्ट बिकॉज इट इज़ बीन रन बाय द AIFF. सो व्हाट अबाउट FSDL, व्हाट अबाउट ISL, व्हाट अबाउट दोज बिग टीम्स एंड इतने सारे पैसे जो दिए गए हैं. कंपटीशन कहाँ पे ज़्यादा है. व्हाट अबाउट द मर्जर ऑफ बोथ द लीग्स. काफ़ी सारे क्वेश्चंस हैं, काफ़ी सारे ओपिनियंस हैं. तो यहाँ पे इस वीडियो में वी गोना हैव रंजीत सर विद अस एंड बहुत सारे एस्पेक्ट्स के बारे में हम एक अच्छे से डिटेल में बात करेंगे. सो जो भी क्वेश्चंस है आपके उसको कमेंट सेक्शन में ज़रूर बताइएगा. एंड फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ट्राई टू लिसन व्हाट वी टॉक अबाउट इन दी वीडियो. सो गाइस, अगर आप यहाँ पे फर्स्ट टाइम आए हो, डू कंसिडर सब्सक्राइबिंग टू द चैनल एंड लाइक ज़रूर करना. एंड नाउ लेट्स प्रोसीड इनटू द पॉडकास्ट.
So what happened was, guys, that from day one, that means from 8th June when the first meeting happened, we've had over 40 meetings. Each meeting has lasted never less than 5 hours. Some have gone on for 16 to 17 hours. That means I have been leaving that place at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning. Not only me. The amazing part is that we had people like Bhaskar Da and we had people like Qureshi sir and Justice Dave who are in their 70s, some of them, and they were doing this for Indian football. And by the way, like for example, Justice Dave or Qureshi sir, they are so senior that they are arbitrators in these private companies, and they get over 2 to 5 lakh rupees an hour. So remember, it's not for anything else other than for the sport, because they have wasted so much time, and they are not going to be getting anything except expenses. Okay, so people have to know that where these people are coming from. And on top of that, they have been given a very big responsibility for by the Supreme Court. People have to understand it is not meant for 2 years, this constitution, or for 5, or for 10. Constitutions are meant forever, for eternity, for time to come. Yes, amendments can always be made into constitutions, but you can't be thinking about things which are going to happen after 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years and how it's going to affect. You do always think of long terms, and that's the whole point of Indian football. Where we've been faltering and lacking is, forget about fans, because that's not their job, but the federation and the ones who are running football never plan for more than 1 year or 2 years. And in a game like football, if you don't plan for 20, 50, 100 years, and 100, yes, that's what Japan is doing. I'm not joking. So if you don't do that, you have no chance. But if you do that, small countries can achieve wonders. Okay. So the context is that we had meetings with everybody, and not one meeting. For example, the state FAs, the state associations keep on blaming everybody, but I totally blame the states, and I do it on their faces. Why? Because they are the ones who are going to, if there's going to be a ban, it's going to be because of the state FAs. Why will it be because of that? Because they can't get together on one point. Half the states, there was a point in the constitution which somehow said that we will not allow bureaucrats and politicians and government servants to be part of it. Government of India wrote back. So that's one of the stakeholders. Okay, so Government of India, Ministry of Youth Affairs wrote back to us saying that you have to do that because according to the National Sports Code, it can't be a restrictive policy. Yes, they can't be from Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. Otherwise, you can have politicians there, but only for one term. You can't have politicians ruling forever, only for one term. For everybody else, it's 12 years. Politicians, one term. But half the state FAs who are not run by politicians and people who are interested in standing for elections as the president right now, and it directly affects them, were fighting against this. Half the state FAs are right now currently in the hands of politicians. For example, we have politicians in Arunachal or even in Rajasthan who's the president, Manvinder Singh, or even in Harris, Mr. Harris, who's in Karnataka, who's an MLA as well. And then, you know, you've got, and it's not just, I just named 3, otherwise half the people are politicians there. So Obviously, they can't allow that to happen. Then, the same time, some states are saying these rules should start now. That means all these rules you made should start prospectively and not retrospectively. That means you can't apply the rules. We didn't even know that it was going to be for 12 years, the limit. So our time should start now. So according to them, if they've been there for 16 years, like somebody from West Bengal who's been senior vice president in AIFF for 16 years. He thinks his time should start now. He should be able to run for president, so he can be there for another 12 years. That means he can be there for 28 years. That's the whole point of having rules and laws. That means what was happening earlier should be put right. That means there has to be some kind of limit to how long you can be heading the place, man. Otherwise, that's what dictatorships are all about. That's not democracy in any way. So there has to be a term. And according to the National Sports Code, now see, the COA had to walk a tightrope, okay, between National Sports Code and the Supreme Court, which is the ultimate law in the country, on one side. And on the other side was FIFA. And it's not state FAs they were bothered about, or clubs, or me as the petitioner, or anyone else. They were only bothered about the Supreme Court and the National Sports Code, because that's the law. And on the other side, FIFA, because they don't want to get banned as well, because they know it's detrimental for the country in any way. So they made sure that they included, they can't go afoul of FIFA, they can't go foul of the National Sports Code or the national law of the country. And anything which contravenes, so if the states are asking for stuff which is against the National Sports Code or against FIFA's regulations, for example, they said executive members, executive bearers, the office bearers should be the ones who are only president, vice president, and general secretary. Whereas FIFA says that all our executive committee members are members. So now how this would have changed the game was that some executive committee members who've been there for 20 years in the executive committee of AIFF now still want to be there more, and they want their rules to start now. So we've been trying to tell them that's not possible. Then they said, why should we be made to leave the presidentship of our state if we become president of AIFF? Okay, that's the same thing like saying I want to be chief minister of Punjab and prime minister of India.
Prime Minister.
No, he's saying no, it's like member of parliament and minister. I said, no, it's not. It's not member of parliament and minister. It's being chief minister of Punjab and chief minister of the country. You will obviously have a conflict of direct interest. You will always be giving funds to your own state.
Biased, yeah.
You will have a bias. No matter what you do, you will have a bias. They're saying you can have bias otherwise also. Yes, but it can't be so blatant. Na? You can't just allow that to happen. So I'm trying to show you that some states are wanting this, some states are not wanting this. How? Because they're selfish. The ones who want to be in power, they're wanting to make sure that their things are not allowed. So now another thing the COA put in, that whatever the rules of the AF, they were saying that the National Sports Code doesn't apply to states. Why? Because states is a sports subject and it's not a rule by any national law. Whereas, what we have done is we put the National Sports Code, everything, we put ditto copy in the AIFF constitution. Now they have to follow it. So now what does that mean? That means if there's been a president in any state who's been there for more than 12 years, forget about being in top. Unless you clean up the shit in the bottom, it's never going to change the top. They're going to bring the same kind of people in the top. So if somebody's been there for 20, forget about that. Let me tell you, I don't want to name the person, but there's been somebody who's been there for 46 years. And wow, it's amazing. Okay. Then there was somebody who was there for 30 years. He died and now his son is taken over. Yeah, and it's the most popular state of India. Yeah. So these things are not happening in small states. They're happening in the biggest states of the country. And there are direct conflicts of interest A to Z everywhere. Okay. So we made sure. So the main thing they wanted to do was the IOC, the International Olympic Council, and the IOA, to which they have to follow. Even FIFA follows. Why? Because FIFA is a member of them, and you have to follow the statutes of IOC if you want to be a member there. Same way we have to follow FIFA if we have to be a member of FIFA. So their statutes say that players have to be involved. You have to have election of players. There's an actual players commission there. So unless what is the meaning of states trying to run the game? Okay, then the argument given was to the judges that in your bar council, will you allow a teacher to come and stand for election? They said no. So he says in the IS Officers Association, will you allow even an IPS officer to come and stand? He says no. Then in a doctors association, will you allow an engineer to come? He says no. then why the hell have you allowed these chores to come and run football in India? Why are players not there? Why are the people who are ones who are they things like वो भी चोर है. See, okay यार वो चोर है, उन्होंने 40 साल, I am not saying it's okay, but उन्होंने 40 साल ground में अपनी मरवाई है, and after that they have given so much. Now is the time. Some of them might not be, but if you are getting people from outside who have got nothing to do with football at all, they have no love for the game. When you
No
have no love
understanding
for
as
the
well.
game, when you
No
have no love for
understanding,
the bro, if you have no love for the game, I guarantee you will be corrupt, because that's the only thing you're there. These guys come
Because
in
you
like
are
this.
there for the money.
Yes,
And
You're
the
there for the
power,
money.
yeah.
Federation chiefs come in like this. यार कोई प्रेसिडेंट बनवा दे. कहाँ का यार? सर अभी ना हैंडबॉल और वॉलीबॉल और फुटबॉल खाली है. यार फुटबॉल का करवा दे यार, वहाँ पे वर्ल्ड कप जाएंगे. This is the kind of things which are happening in the country. So it's got nothing to do with that the person even knows the
Sir,
game.
but what would happen अगर यहाँ पे जो भी ये कमिटी है इसमें अगर प्लेयर्स का इन्वॉल्वमेंट होता है, because I have read कि 5 players हो गए, 2 women भी involved होंगी इसमें.
Yes, so they kept on saying women involvement. So the COA said that forget about women involvement. There has to be a number. You have to give that representation to women.
Yeah.
And what we did was, when I say we, it's the COA. Okay, I don't have any power there. तो मेरे पे कोई ना गालियाँ निकाला ना big birds देना, it's them. So what we did was they made sure that there are equal numbers in the executive committee. So what we did, 5 people are going to be from the state associations, 5 in the executive committee, 5 are going to be eminent players. Now how do we get eminent players? So कहते स्टेट नॉमिनेट करेंगे. हमने कहा बिल्कुल नहीं करेंगे, फिर तो फायदा ही नहीं है, फिर तुम अपने बंदे को ही लगाओगे. तो क्या करना? हाँ, तो आप ना एक लिस्ट बनाओ. So anyone who's played even one international for the country, depending on suppose you have played 20 and she's played 10 and I played 5. So first you automatically from your state you get the nomination. Okay, and then she gets it and then I get it. So it's got nothing to do with the state, but seniority not in age, but the number of internationals you played. And you have to be retired obviously for over 2 years.
2 years.
So there are some states which will not have representation. So that's a kick up their ass. Why? Because if you want vote, you better develop your state. Simple as that.
And this is how fair. And
That's an incentive, yeah.
states, that's the states
Your
जिनके पास
state,
नहीं है वो
your state
development.
will have bloody half the votes. Will have 1 vote instead of 2. Develop and make internationals.
Perfect. Yeah.
And the only way you can do that is to start developing for 5 years, 10 years, because international overnight produce नहीं होंगे.
Sir, I had a question that aren't state FAs under the AIFF? So if AIFF makes something, do the states actually have power to, overthrow
No,
it?
so
Because
till the last constitution, states were in no obligation to follow the AIFF thing. Why? Because they said we have our own state's laws and we are registered under Societies Act and all that thing, so we don't have to follow them. So इन्होंने अपनी constitutions तक नहीं जमा कराई हुई अभी तक. So इनको तो पहले अभी बोल रहे हैं कि अपनी constitution जमा कराओ. And now we've come to know from so many states that now what they have to do, they have to actually not only give us the constitution, they have to give us where they've been registered, MOM, memorandum of articles, the MOA minutes and the minutes of the meetings where this was done, and then जो उनके members हैं, उनकी legal entities कि वो भी registered है कि नहीं. So suppose they आजकल क्या हो रहा है, like for example, in a small city, my city, there are clubs and they're not only there on paper, and the actual clubs who are there, they're not even represented. So वो घर पे meeting करके पेपर वाले club की आपस में president बना देते हैं. So the same guy has been the secretary for the last 35 years in the city, and nothing has happened. There's not even been one senior league in the last time it happened.
सर तो मनी का ट्रैक कैसे रखते हैं? Because वो जो भी मनी आया वो तो कहीं तो शो करना होगा. How do you actually show it?
They've been able to get out of the RTI because they're saying there's a state. That's why they never give RTIs. Now they come in that bit. Now they get screwed. Why do you think the states are up in arms? Because एक तो उनकी power half कर दी है. 36 votes थे उनके all. Now 36 and 36 players. So now even if चलो कह रहे हैं हम लोग को player, तो player की कोई value तो बनी. Player के पीछे भागना तो पड़ेगा सालों को.
Yes. But sir ऐसे तो काफी स्टेट्स होंगे जिनमें कोई ऐसा नेशनल प्लेयर है नहीं जो कि 2 साल के लिए रिटायर्ड हो. तो मतलब बहुत सारे स्टेट्स ऐसे.
We've got it down to even one international. We've even got it down to even women, na. So it's women, man, women, man, women, man, according to the roster. And 2 women and it'll be 3 men. And then the next roster probably can be 3 women and 2 men. But there'll always be that spots reserved for them. only
Also,
one
you said it would
president.
be incentive for them, right? You
Yes,
said
and
that
one
would create
president
an
and one
incentive.
treasurer. So yes, so now it will be easier for them to get women into the international team because they
Yeah.
can get votes. So see,
Mm-hmm.
that's the double whammy. You can get them every time to promote football from both sides. इनको women का
Yeah.
भी करना पड़ेगा अगर वोट चाहिए, because
Absolutely.
उनके स्टेट से एक साल अगर मैन जाएगा तो अगले साल उनको वुमन भेजना ही पड़ेगा. अगर वुमन नहीं है, उन स्टेट के चाहे 10 मेल है, गए वो. They'll have to wait for one term to come in.
राइट सर, यहाँ पे जो जोन्स डिवाइड हुए हैं यहाँ पे, तो
So
मैंने पढ़ा कि
zones
नॉर्थ
now
ईस्ट को एक
again.
अलग
So
जोन बना
national.
रखा है.
So एक I'll tell you. So क्या कर रहे हैं वो, पहले तो उन्होंने कहा था हमारा ना वाइस प्रेसिडेंट चाहिए हमें. तो हमने जाके देखा कि पावर क्या होती है वाइस प्रेसिडेंट की. टट्टू, कोई पावर नहीं वाइस प्रेसिडेंट की. There's no power at all. Why? Because they want to have that and they want to go as managers of official teams and they want to go on foreign trips and they want to go representing in FIFA council meetings and all that shit. That's how they used to be paid. Okay, and the national sports code says you can only have one vice president. हमने क्या किया? हमने एक भी नहीं रखा. क्यों रखना क्यों है? Why? What is the point of having a vice president? For what purpose? President, treasurer, and the executive committee members. So they said we want 5 vice presidents, one from each zone. But I said, what's the point?
रोल क्या है उनका?
क्या नहीं, बस हमारे को नाम चाहिए जी वाइस प्रेसिडेंट का. तो ये स्टेट्स इस बात के लिए कोर्ट जा रहे हैं कि हमें इन्होंने 5 वाइस प्रेसिडेंट नहीं दिए हैं. इनसे ये पूछो, मेरे को एक चीज बताओ जो तुमने मांगे की हैं कि वी आर गोइंग टू कोर्ट फॉर द गुड ऑफ इंडियन फुटबॉल. एक बता दो. I have seen all the things they are apparently pissed off about, but not even one of them actually concerns football. It's all about their power, their state, this law. I
Their
can't stand
money.
for election. I can't do this. How do I make money? How do I stop this? Not even one. It's so sad. So these are the people who were running football in India for so many years. And that is why they are getting so pissed off. Because they're fighting for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, for example, there are some states in which, like, you're talking about the development of football. तो कुछ states ऐसे हैं, जैसे अगर मैं कोलकाता, वेस्ट बंगाल के बारे में बात करती हूँ, या फिर मैं केरला के बारे में बात करती हूँ, या मे बी चेन्नई के बारे में, बेंगलुरु के बारे में बात करती हूँ. So there are some states जहाँ पे development बहुत बढ़िया है फुटबॉल का. So is it like that even the state associations of West Bengal, Kerala, उनको भी same issue है when it comes to this? Because when you talk about football in these states, it's actually really growing. It is at the peak. तो
No,
उनको भी
see,
तो
is
वो
the
कल्चर की
problem
वजह से
same?
है ना.
Ek second, tell me about Bengal. Let me now clear this misconception about people. People think, oh my god, Maharashtra football is developed. It's not at all. Mumbai is developed. What about Kolhapur? What about Nagpur? What about Pune?
Yeah.
How come their teams don't get into second division? Mumbai is one city's league. One city's league. How come their champions represent Maharashtra? It's wrong. And they have one league in Thane and one league somewhere else, and league one जो उनका मन करता है उसका champion भेज देते हैं. Why? Because since the last 30 years, who's been the president of FIFA? Mr. Praful Patel. Okay, then I'm just going to give you examples. For Bengal, it's the Calcutta League. What about Darjeeling? What about the other areas of Bengal? Why is there not a district champion represented in the Calcutta League? So it's not a state league. So the same way, when you say, Indian team is made out of these 5 states, it's not. It's made out of Mumbai, it's made out of this, and Northeast with total population is 5 crores, and probably Punjab and Goa. And that's it. And Kerala. So total population of the entire Indian team is probably 7-8 crores just when the team बनती है, because 7-8 crores की ही football हो रही है India में. So now the rules which have been made. If the state every single year does not make sure it has a senior men's league and senior women's league, if it does not make sure it participates in the under 13, 15, 18 nationals, every year you're banned, out. You're not going to be allowed to get any votes. इनकी फटी हुई है इस बात पे, because they'll have to do work now. They can't just get vote and that for nothing. So what's the point of having a state association if you don't conduct your league? What is your other point? तुम्हारा काम क्या है? To be vice president.
Right. Sir, all of this, ये सारे जो rules, regulation है, constituents बने, ये COA के through बने हैं, and इसको भी अभी भी 21 जुलाई को कोर्ट में अभी अप्रूव होना बचा हुआ है, right? इसका decision final होना होगा.
So इसमें क्या है? So okay, so let's come to the I-League point. Now that's one of the most contentious points.
Exactly.
The COA was almost okay in giving the ISL, because they said, okay, this is a contract, because they've just seen the last contract. They said, okay, this is a very one-sided contract. But because it's still 2025, okay, and it's 1.5 years to go, and they've already promised promotion and relegation, We don't want to touch it and touch a hornet's nest and have litigation and do all that. Why? Because whatever, if the next committee, elected committee, comes and thinks it's okay, they will renew it. If they will not, they will not. They will look for somebody else. Then this is just and it was written down. Everything was done. A few days ago, they found these documents, which actually, when I released the MRA as a whistleblower in 2017, somehow the guy who gave it to me even didn't give me this page. And somehow it was not there in AIFF records. And then we actually got it out and we asked for the minutes of the meeting. And that's what I released, minutes of the meeting, where it says clearly that they had sold the rights till 2040.
Yeah.
And understand, yeah, right now it's 22, but they made this deal in 2010. So in 2010, they decided what the price was going to be in 2040. The same price, except 20 crores more. In fact, the first 4 years, they gave us 70, 70, 70. So same price was they were giving us for the first 4 years. They're going to, in 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, whatever. In 2040, man.
40.
Okay, let's take it to the other point. Okay, let them run. Now let's take it to the other point. Why it's horrible to do. Stop looking at immediate. Fans stop looking at tomorrow. Because tomorrow will not come. Why? Now, if 5 years, 7 years ago, IPL जो है, IPL को वो बेच देते मिस्टर X को कि तू 500 करोड़ मैं दूंगा BCCI को. उस टाइम पे अगर वो कहता ना 500 करोड़, you will say, oh my God, you're going to give us 500 crores for T20 tournament because nothing had been done about it. And you would have said, yes, but I want the rights for 10, 20 years. Right now, 50,000 crores would have gone to that Mr. X. Now that Mr. X would have not put that money back into Indian football because he would say as a business, मेरे investment है, इसीलिए तो मैंने करा है. अगर ये loss हो जाता, तो मेरा loss होता. अब ये पैसे आए हैं तो मैं ही लूँगा.
Exactly.
Profit है मेरा.
Now, what are you getting? 500 crores. जो तो कब मिल रहा था 500? जो 20 साल पहले भी 500 मिल रहा था.
Right.
अच्छा. अब BCCI का क्या है? BCCI has got 50,000 crores. They have to spend it back into Indian cricket. They cannot take it. They cannot. One man cannot take that money away. Now, Indian football, you mean to say, will not become big? Obviously, it will become big, man. I guarantee it. Everybody guarantees. Why do you think foreign clubs are coming and buying clubs here? Yeah. Because everyone knows it's going to get big. So if you're going to do that, if you say that we will match the best offer, good enough, man. That's also great. You say 50% revenue tumhara aur hamara. Good enough. That means the federation makes money. You also make money because you took the risk. Good on you. But you say you're going to buy us till 2040 and you're going to get 75 crores a year. Yeah. That is bullshit.
Bullshit.
Okay. And on top of that, it would have been great when, from day one, so now we didn't know, but did they know in 2010 that they own Indian football till 2040? They knew, na?
Huh.
They knew.
Absolutely.
They knew. So why the hell didn't they develop the youth?
Yeah.
Why is it RF Developmental Youth League under 21 still? Why is it that? Why is it not taken over the under 13, 15, 18 league? Why are they still, even when they own football for 30 years, they're still not thinking of long term? They're still, because they're a corporate, they don't understand how to develop football. You have to go down to the grassroots. If they had spent 1/10 the money on the grassroots, their ISL right now would have been a world-class product. Why 1/10? They would have had 100 Minervas. Imagine what I've given. Imagine what 100 Minervas would have given them in 7 years.
Absolutely.
True.
And how many Minervas have they made? There was just one Minerva before us, Tata Football Academy.
Yeah.
What's happened to it? Since the last 7 years, how many internationals has TFA produced? Which is to produce 90% of the Indian team. How many internationals? Zero. So I'm talking about development. Put your money where your mouth is. Don't put your money on your own baby, man. Okay, so now they're saying we will allow promotion and relegation. Somebody who's going to allow promotion and relegation, will they try to kill the mother jiski baby se unka banda upar aana hai? For example, if they're trying to kill I-League, how are they killing I-League? They own the rights, they own everything, they make sure the matches are 2 o'clock. And all the other complaints, for example, the I-League clubs can't even use their own videos and they don't do the marketing. So they're making sure we don't get any sponsors and they're making sure they're dying. Okay? But you are saying that the champion will be promoted to your ISL. That means you want a very weak team to come to your ISL. Isn't it going to spoil your ISL if a weak team comes to your thing? Now, but one of your guys is going to go down as well. So do you want your club to go to a shitty league?
Yeah.
And
वो
become
बैलेंस
even
रखना है
weaker?
दोनों लीग में.
Yeah, because see, if the championship in England wasn't strong, will the English Premier League be that strong? No.
Definitely. It'll collapse, huh?
Exactly. Now, understand. Earlier, I've been trying to shout it out that if the broadcaster owns the rights, you will never have auction. If you don't have auction, that's where the money comes from. Not in India, man. All over the world. Be it the English Premier League, German League, Spanish League, any league you name it, the broadcast rights are the maximum money. Here, the broadcaster owns the rights. So how do you get the money? Why do you
There
think
is no
ISL
selling
comes
of
up with-
rights. Yeah.
So all the things are loaded against the federation. Okay, for example, now this is a private league, okay? But somehow they've managed to convince FIFA and AFC that this is the official league of India and the champion of this league goes and represents India. Okay, but the only way to get into this league is if you have enough money. So if I've got 10 guys who are billionaires and I don't like a particular guy, but he's the best player in India, even though he's the best player in India, if I want, he's not going to be there. Why? Because it's the top league of India, it's a private league. Okay.
It's an island, basically.
Yeah, so you can't get in there anyway unless you're rich. Okay, and even if you're the shittiest team, do you go down? No. So merit doesn't matter. Sporting merit is out of the question. Now, is the Indian team selected from the best merit in India? No, it is selected from the best merit of this league.
Yeah.
Which is wrong. Even if you don't want to select people, but don't say that openly. Who will want to play in an I League club? Ever. Or in a second division club or anywhere else. Because everyone wants to play for India, man.
Yes.
So,
Sir,
And the thing is, still now it's not even like,
now, to understand, they own this league, they own I League. They are trying to kill the league. Read the MRA. In the MRA says they have the right to discontinue the I League at any time they
any
want.
given moment. They can
So
change
they
the
can
whole
do
structure of
that.
the league. They can ban the players. They can do
So they
anything.
said,
Pura full
no,
control hai.
we've taken teams from the I League. No, man, you've taken the best teams from us. Bangalore, Mohun Bagan, East Bengal. You take Bangalore, Mohun Bagan, East Bengal out of the ISL. What is left in the ISL? Nothing. So you've taken our best teams and you've said that oh my God, our league is great. So what we were saying is, again, the COA said, and they've explained that, all the other clubs in the world and players play, and Sunil Chetri, Gurpreet Sandhu, all these people wrote in their comments because everybody was asked, okay? So they said, we want to play more matches. How many matches? We want to play as many matches as the best teams in the world do. So they were asking us, how many matches do the best team in the world play? So we're saying 50, 60. How many does India play? 4 internationals, 5. Yeah. And other than with their club milakar, 25 total. So they're saying, okay, then how are you supposed to reach them? So they're saying कि हमारे क्लब्स ही 10 हैं जी, इसीलिए इतने होते हैं. So कहते थे तुम चुप करके नीचे से ऊपर सारे क्लब ले लो, 20 क्लब हो गए, खत्म हो गई. Oh, it's very expensive. On the side, how much money are you spending on giving Star Sport just apparently for producing the league? 250 crores. How much are you spending on your Reliance Youth Foundation programs, on the developmental league, on the school league? 300 crores. So they're spending 500 crores on their own products. But they're giving 50 crores to AIFF to spend on the entire Indian football.
Yeah.
And they want to now give 75 crores for the next 20 years to spend on the entire Indian football. If they want to, then
so
take
can I
it
ask
over.
something here?
Huh.
So, I want to ask you something since I want to be very clear here that it's not like I used to watch I League and then, I'm angry that ye sab clear. I started watching ISL and that's how I came here till now, and I feel that बहुत अच्छा product है. Product में कोई issue नहीं है. But
Ritika, you
don't you
watched it
think that
because it
this
was
is...
easily accessible. It was easily
Yeah.
accessible to you. आपके टीवी पे था. आप I League भी देखे होते, वो भी.
This is the point. They want all ISL clubs to stay. But they want one league. It's not they want I League. You don't read it properly. See, it says, people think, oh my God, they've said I League is the top. No, it's not the top league. It says the senior most league of India has to be owned and operated by AIFF.
AIFF, yeah, obviously,
Yes, so all they have to do, ISL, is renegotiate the contract and say we've got the commercial marketing partners. हम पैसे ले लेंगे, पैसा का काम हमारा है. You will own and run it. For example, Right now in the I League, in all the committees, not I League, in all AIFF committees, there is an FSDL member, which is illegal. You can't have a marketing commercial partner. In the top league of the country, जहाँ से हमारा champion represent करता है जाके Champions League में, उनके जो governing council है, उन कितने AIFF के member हैं उसमें? Not even the president, not even the general secretary. They do not even have one AIFF person in their governing council, but they're sitting on everything here. Even on the technical committee who selects the national coach, there's a guy there. So now how
FSDL.
Okay, yes. So how
National
is it
coach.
fair? Yeah, technical committee mein there's a guy sitting. In the standing committee, in every standing committee, there's an FSDL member.
But ISL और FSDL तो connection है, but national team और FSDL का.
In the executive committee also there's a member of FSDL sitting there for every meeting. And it's written in the contract, by the way. So now they're doing something illegal. That's what I'm saying. So our thing is that you have to have one league. The day India plays 40 matches in a season, that's the day we're going to start progressing. So we cannot wait for this ISL to take in one team for the next 10 years to make it 20. There has to be a quick jhatka right now, and together 20. Second league 20, and state leagues 36 champions, third division.
Sir,
And
won't
how
there be a
to get
lot
to
of
the states?
big difference in the quality of the teams? Because if we just, let's say, merge, okay, fine,
Okay,
I understand
I'll
that
give you
point.
I'll give you an example. Okay, forget about the English Premier League. Let's go to the Spanish League or the German League. The top 4 teams thrash the teams at the bottom 6-0, 7-0, 5-0, 6-0, 5-0, 6-0. Every
But not
single.
always. Sir, not always.
So always
there's a big-
one second. Look at my Minerva's record against ISL clubs. We have
Yeah,
more victories and draws than losses. And any respectable team, I'm talking about Gokulam, the same you see it, the same with Mohammedan Sporting. The ones who will be, there'll be 4 or 5 or 6, I'm not talking about me, 6 teams who will be able to compete. That means
Definitely.
they'll probably lose 2 and win 1. But one day you'll even get the Leicester story, where an unknown club will come out and win and big. So that's where football romance is, where a small guy can come and beat the giants. See, European Super League was what? Just giants playing against each other.
Exactly.
That's what this ISL is. Giants playing against each other. You have to have the small guy. You have to be able to bring that small guy into a stadium of Chandigarh where there are 5,000 people watching. Different thing altogether than when we go and play, because that's the romance of football. In India, it's not always about 100,000 people stadium. It's always the other thing, opposite way, where the biggies go into the smallies and play. That's
The
romance.
locals, yeah.
Yes.
So
So how do you
can we talk about East Bengal here? Like they also got promoted, but we have not seen that quality in them. Like when they are playing at that level, that they go up.
It's-
Yes, they can't be relegated, but
It
do you
doesn't
think
matter.
that
Yeah.
See, the club, these kind of clubs, for example, Liverpool now for the last so many years has been doing well. But before that, they had a slump for over 30 years. They didn't win anything. But the Liverpool fans went up, they didn't go down, because it's an institution. So any club which is something at that level, it doesn't matter how they play. Every year they will expect the trophy. Even if they don't give it, next year they'll still expect the trophy. So I think East Bengal's problem is more with the leadership than anything else. As soon as we get professionals there and the ones who are there for the right reasons, we'll see changes happening. See, the whole point of doing this entire thing was to show the fans that there is nothing which could have been done other than this. Why? Because there is already a case in the Table Tennis Federation of India versus Monica Batra, where the Table Tennis Federation had signed a similar kind of a contract with a company called 11 Sports. And in that, the COA was appointed. That contract was actually 100 times better than the ones these guys have signed with this. And the COA is appointed. The COA has gone and said to Supreme Court, this contract is illegal. It should be void because it's against the national interests. Because an NSF's basic duty, according to the National Sports Code, is to run, own, operate all leagues and commercial rights. And it's in the code. So once the Supreme Court is saying apply the national code, you have to look at every point and then match it with the code and see. So nowhere in the code will it ever say, or any law will say, that you can actually, for example, the Competition Commission of India, this is known as cartelization or monopoly, monopolistic trade practices. Because you are not even giving a chance to anyone to succeed. and you are actively killing the competition. You're actively killing everybody, and in a very conniving way. Not even like doing it in a that thing. You're doing it actually buying them out and then killing them, and that's so. The whole point is that when you got legal great minds like Justice Dave, who's a Supreme Court judge, or Qureshi Saab, who's been the Chief Election Commissioner.
Election commissioner.
Yeah, so they've seen all these things thousands of times. They see where a bad contract from a good one.
Right.
Why do you think they're able to take it on and they say, okay, fine, you're threatening to sue us? And why do you think FIFA in all their comments didn't say even one word? FIFA also gave comments that we want this change, this change, this change. And we listened to all of them. Not even once did they FIFA say that, this is wrong about the league, what you're doing.
Sir, how do the fans take it? जैसे कि जो भी whatever the constitution में जो नए चीजें हमने देखी हैं, how the fans taking it?
If this happens, it will affect the ISL. No, it will not. Nothing will happen.
Right.
This will be a battle which will be fought in the future. And right now के लिए, because it will affect Indian football, it will not change much except unless if the COA wants the entire thing of promotion and relegation and the one league being made from now. So the COA, I think, hopes that the ISL people will come on board and say, okay, fine, we are willing to adopt the I-League and make it into one.
So when will that decision
be made? यहाँ पे that many I-League clubs are इसके against हैं. I've read reports कि Churchill and Gokulam Kerala, they are against this.
No, they want one league. They also want one league.
I read that they're not happy with the 14 or 16 clubs playing in one. They said that you need to extend it to 20 so that they get more game time
so
and the quality improves.
You need to have 20.
वो सबको कह रहे हैं कि साथ ले चलो.
सारों को लेने की लोड नहीं है ना. 13 क्लब 11 क्लब हैं और 13 यहाँ से हैं. So top 6 भी ले लो, is good enough. Moment you have 20, 17, 18, 19 clubs, you play over 40 matches. That's what a proper football season for 9 months is, because you play 15, 20 club matches, cup matches. So you have 50 matches for a team. That's the time you start getting game time.
So how we will decide कि कौन सी teams हैं जो कि I League से वो merge करेंगे या उनको एक साथ रखेंगे, and then फिर I League में जो teams बचेगी फिर what will happen?
That will be the second division.
Second से वो second division से team फिर I League में आएगी.
Second division में apparently they're going to be over 18 to 20 teams this time. So उसको अगर हम I League से मिला देंगे 25 टीमें हो जाएंगी. तो वो सेकंड डिवीजन हमारा 25 का बन जाएगा, फॉरगेट अबाउट 20 का. और फिर थर्ड डिवीजन क्या है? सारी स्टेट लीग्स हमारी थर्ड डिवीजन है, क्योंकि उनका चैंपियन ही ऊपर आता है. सो स्ट्रक्चर बना हुआ है ऑलरेडी, उसको फॉलो करना है बस. इट्स ऑलरेडी देयर. अच्छा, तो क्या रहा था? डिस्ट्रिक्ट चैंपियंस होते नहीं थे. डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में कभी फुटबॉल नहीं होती थी. अब लॉ है, करो, नहीं तो बाहर जाओ. कितना 50% of your districts must be functioning or you're out.
I went to watch a match in Punjab. Yeah, in Sangrur I was seeing a match happening. Like वो proper record maintain कर रहे थे sheet पे, and I was like, okay, this is actually official thing happening in front of me.
There,
so that was
in places like Mallapuram in Kerala, you go to Rajasthan, in the far off places, you find huge crowds. You go to Kolhapur, you'll find crowds like this. I mean, you go to these places and you'll find football is thriving. And imagine they're doing it without any support. So now imagine where it's already thriving, you can give it support. And imagine if it's thriving without support. Look at the places which are dead because there's no support. You go in. This is the time where we can have huge changes. So there is no chance that the CEO will say, okay, fine, you can sell Indian football till 2040. And they say, okay, it's fine, for the same price. अगर वो किया होता ना कि okay, 75 crores, 100 crores, 150, 200, 250, 300, in 2040 you'll be getting 500 crores. It looks fair. Or 50% of profits looks fair. Or 50% of any new deals looks fair. But if you say 75 crores we are giving you in 2010 and 2040 we'll give you the same money.
Same money, huh?
How is that fair? No matter what.
That's bad evaluation of money altogether.
मतलब progress होगा तो भी पैसे उतने ही मिलेंगे basically.
So मतलब कौन कमा रहे होगा फिर? वही कमा रहे हैं. So people have to understand, look at the long-term picture of it. You don't look at what is going to happen tomorrow and your favorite league is going to be delayed or something is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen like that.
Can this contract be broken? मतलब renegotiate कर ले, because ये तो written में है 2040 तक जाएगा. What loophole क्या है?
For example, if they threaten to go to court, I'll be the first one to go to court against them. because I can challenge this threat because there was a very famous case, New Balance versus Nike, Liverpool. Okay, they had this contract, and they had the same kind of thing that they could renew it and with the same money. But Nike came and offered a better deal, and they said we are not only going to match it, we're going to make it better, and they had to break the contract, and Nike won the case because it's how can you deny somebody that? So not only have I got
Fair grounds.
international, then Competition Commission of India with monopolistic and trade, the monopolistic trade practices in India. Then you've got even cartelization. Then you've got great cases in the TTFI thing coming up. So if imagine the Supreme Court says that the TTFI thing is invalid, they're dead because the same judgment I will use here.
Yeah.
The whole point is
Absolutely.
they need to come to the table and give Indian football a great deal.
Right.
Because I can guarantee you that I can get more money for Indian football than 100 crores a year right now. How do I know that? Because Kerala football is capable of getting that, man. How do I know that? You got 4 FIFA windows, I can get you just 12 crores just from ticket sales.
Yeah.
Because 3 crores a match.
Bilkul.
And I guarantee you will get 3 crores a match. Because IPL teams are making that much. And you're talking about the national team country, and I can arrange tours, do all that. You can make so much of money, man. You just get there out and do it.
Right.
Just because you don't want to do work. And that's what AIFF didn't want the previous class and put your... So the whole point of the government was asking कि तुम्हारा काम क्या है? AIFF का क्या काम है? अगर नेशनल टीम किसी और ने सिलेक्ट करनी है, कहीं और से टीम होनी है, ना तुमने लीग तुम्हारी मैटर करती है, ना तुमने सिलेक्शन करनी, ना नौकरी तुमने कोई करनी, ना तुम किस कमेटी में बैठे हो. If everything is going to be done by them, what is your work? Basically, AIFF is FSDL.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
Sir, what does FIFA want over here? FIFA
So
को क्या बातें गलत लग रही है? But
FIFA has said that don't change the size of general body. Earlier, what they were going to do was they were going to make 36 player associations in 36 different states. And that was going to be a really big mess, logistically also speaking. Because it's very difficult to then have one in every state. We wanted to make sure the state FAs don't have a role in selecting the players. So the idea which they came up with was that have a list of eminent players. And once you have that, that's on just the basis of the number of internationals you played. And so nobody can screw with you. So it's always this and then the next and then the next and then the next. It's just by this. And then for the states who don't have it, they will be forced to do it because their states will be half represented. And for them, that's the biggest thing because everybody will have two votes, and the state which doesn't have an international player will have one vote.
The player positions are irreplaceable, right? So even if they don't have a player, that seat will remain empty on that that seat.
It will remain empty. Yeah, it will remain
now
empty.
I understand better. Yeah.
The state can't take it.
ये जो एग्जीक्यूटिव का जो
whatever
ये
is-
सीटिंग है, will
Yeah,
that be re-elected? मतलब कि क्या वो चेंज होंगे एट टाइम हर 2 साल 3 साल में कोई इलेक्शन होगा उनको ऑर्गेनाइज करने का?
8-year period for the executive committee and for this. 8 years के बाद, if you still want to remain, you can remain there for a maximum of 12 years in your lifetime. So even if you want to remain there for 12 years, you'll have to 8 years, then 4 years cooling off period, and then 4 years again. Because if you keep somebody there for a decade, then it becomes this. But there's some good people also who want, you want some more out of. Okay, then let them cool off and then bring them back again.
So how much say is state associations having in this right now? Because you have talked about this, that some are like not at all in it and some are. But
Because-
whatever the judgment is going, yeah.
What they have done is they've hired a lawyer, their own lawyer. First they came to the COA and they said, listen, we want to hire a lawyer and you please pay for it. So COA
So
said,
all
"Why
the
should
states are together. Is it like all the
No,
states are
they
together?
came together to hire the lawyer. Okay, कि पैसे आप दो हमारे,
Okay.
AFF को.
Hmm.
And the AFF, the COA said, why should we pay for your lawyer? You're going to go against what
You
we're
will go
going
against us. Yeah.
Yeah, so why should we pay for you? And you 36 of you, man, you can easily, 36 means 36 states. You can easily put a little bit of money in a range. So if you want this lawyer, naming some very big lawyer. So if you want that big lawyer, then you please go and pay for him yourself. So now the funny thing is going to be, there'll be multiple lawyers for the states. Because they want
Imagine the
different...
mess.
They could not.
Yes.
They could not
Like I
come
said, they have
decide on
five
one
things.
lawyer.
No, because half of them want different stuff. Half of them want different stuff. So okay, so people say ना कि वो ban कराएंगे, ban कौन कराएगा? मेरे से लिख के ले लो ban कौन कराएगा? Ban वो कराएगा जो उस दिन कोर्ट में जाएगा. Because court kya karega? Court is not going to say, oh, yeah, okay, fine, done, dusted, go. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to say, okay, fine, you filed an appeal, okay, or you filed a petition, okay, fine. Time given to the respondent to file a reply. Time of Supreme Court, 2 months. Chalo ji, calm man. Because they have interfered. They've gone and said, now we want this. Whereas, I have told you, I'm not kidding when I say this, we've had over 30 hours of meeting just with the states. Zoom call, this call, that call, all calls, getting them there, committees there. And they've never been able to come to a conclusion.
India is hosting under 17 women World Cup in
World Cup.
October. Do you think that this is coming at a right time? Because see, they'll have to make a decision, otherwise FIFA
They're
is going to
coming
conduct
at
this
the
somewhere
most,
else.
they're coming, no, I'm saying. So it's coming at the most beautiful time for India. Because
Yeah.
I have a feeling that if this was not there, we would have been banned already.
Really?
ऐसे
It is because of the under 17 World Cup that we are conducting. हम बच पा रहे हैं
Anything that is helping us,
oh
and it's right there. For example, the committees are already here. The FIFA committees, they are checking in the World Cup.
Yeah.
The LOC have been working here. They've been getting salaries for 2 months from
Arrangements and everything.
FIFA.
Yeah.
सारा कुछ हो रहा है.
Inspection रोज हर महीने हो रहे हैं.
Everything is on full steam. By next month, the bloody teams will be here end of the month. Man, everything, bookings have been made, flights have been booked. Everything has been done, bro. Everything has been done. Okay.
Yeah.
They talked to the government. They've talked to the government of India. They've gone and done that tax free. वो सारा कुछ होना था वो कर लिया. Now doing it, either they will have to postpone the World Cup.
Yeah.
Now, otherwise it's not difficult for FIFA to do it. But what's happened is in
bad
Asia,
PR होगा ना
yes,
for FIFA.
हाँ, वो एशियन कप भी हो गया, वो फुटसल कप भी कैंसिल हो गया, फिर वो ओलंपिक्स भी कैंसिल हो गया था उनका, वो जो एशियन कप होना अभी 23 में था वो भी हो गया. So they have already finding juggling places of way to do what. So this is a saving grace. Even though they keep on saying in any, it's got nothing to do with it, nothing real can do this. Yeah, they can do it, but they don't want to, man. I know they can. I'm not saying FIFA can't. They can, but they don't want to. And if it means waiting for another couple of months as long as things are going right, because according to the constitution sent to FIFA, they are now happy with everything with almost no comments, which one or two things which are there, which we've explained to them is because of our national sports code and they are okay with it. सबसे ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम किसको है? स्टेट एफएस.
भगवान.
So if they go there that day, we will get banned. And only now 3 or 4 people can go there. I mean, on that day, you just can't just be standing up and saying, I want to be heard. So it's me, because I was the intervener petition, and I'm not going to do anything because I'm happy with everything as it is there. Second is Rahul Mehra. Rahul Mehra is also going to be very, very happy with all this till now because it's fair and it's according to the National Sports Code. FIFA, they are very, very happy. And the 4th people are the state FAs. They're definitely happy.
Sir, क्या final ruling
So
आ जाएगी
the
21st
difference
को?
in
We will know the
opinion-
outcome of this. We don't know. So it's gonna extend. High probability है.
Sir, conclusion का भी मिलेगा
So the-
about the leagues and
But exactly that is what we're asking.
I
Sorry,
want to
this
ask
is
the
not good for
difference in
FIFA.
opinion that
Sorry,
the state
sorry, Nitika.
association is
Yeah.
having. Yeah, it's okay. The difference in
क्या- क्या
opinion that state association is having. So
Okay.
what is it? What is it that they are not aligning
so
about?
half
Is
of
it
them
like
are saying politicians should be allowed to stand for elections of the president and other stuff. Half of them, like Shaji, are saying no, it should not be allowed. Then half of them, like Subrata Datta from Bengal, is saying that the rules of being over 70 and more than 12 years in the association should start from now. And the ones who are, again, the opposite party, they are saying that no, obviously rules are rules, they should start from now. Then there are some people who they're all fighting for it, that we don't want to leave. They all want 5 vice presidents. They all want to be president of their state and president of AIFF at the same time. So where there are personal things, they want both the stuff. But where there's about personal interest, then it doesn't matter. Even the other guy is putting him down the hill doesn't matter. So
Such a
I
pure
want
chaos
when
there.
you guys should, when all these, for example, Shaji, he's been giving so many interviews. No one's ever asked him कि तुमने सारी डिमांड्स दी हैं, स्टेट्स की डिमांड्स हैं, स्टेट्स क्या चीज़ पहले बताओ, ये क्या है? वो बोलेगा जी स्टेट फुटबॉल एसोसिएशन होती है फॉर द प्रमोशन ऑफ फुटबॉल. तो तुमने एक डिमांड बताओ जो तुमने बताई है उसमें से, टू डू विद फुटबॉल.
Yeah. So ये
I'm
क्वेश्चन
just
सुप्रीम कोर्ट भी पुट करेगा ही ना, व्हेन दे आस्क देम कि दिस इज अबाउट फुटबॉल, तो
okay. So
फुटबॉल के
now,
इंटरेस्ट में कहाँ बात हो रही है?
my prediction, I can only give you prediction. My prediction is that the Supreme Court will give precedence and weightage to guaranteed what Rahul Mehra says, okay? Because that's his petition. If I had to speak, would have given it because it's been brought here, but I'm not going to. And COA's constitution is obviously the number one thing. They will give it weightage. They will not give weightage to what FIFA says. They will not give weightage to what state FAs say. So that is why we made sure that FIFA के point हम पहले ही मान ले. Because even if we had gone against FIFA, Supreme Court wouldn't have given a damn. ठीक है? But we knew that we would have got banned. So FIFA की सारी बातें हमने मान ली. Because वो बातें वो नहीं कर रहे हैं. वो क्या कह रहे हैं कि ये हमारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है, इसके मुताबिक होना चाहिए. Because you can't be against that, which is very fair. And we've done all that.
एक चीज बहुत लेमैन टर्म है यहाँ पे जनरल जनता के लिए. व्हाट इज एक्चुअली द 3 things or 4 things that FIFA wants AIFF to do?
So if they wanted that the general body size should not be extended, that means we were going to make these new state player associations, 36 of them, and then have 36 state
36,
FAs,
yeah.
have 72 members. They said, no, don't do this.
18 कर दो क्या?
So no. You can't have more members. Don't increase the size. How can you have 18? इसका मतलब 18 स्टेट को तुमको बाहर निकालना पड़ेगा. 36 स्टेट्स है ना.
जोन बना देना. तो उन्होंने जोन वाला काम किया ना. 5
वो ना, वो तो फिर सीधा 5 रह गए थे. ये तो बहुत ही ड्रास्टिक है. वो भूख हड़ताल पे आ जाते हैं साले बाहर कर. वहां पे क्या कर दिया तुमने. तो हमने क्या किया जो 36 स्टेट थे उनको हमने 2 वोट्स दे दी. एक वोट प्लेयर की, एमिनेंट प्लेयर की, which they are selecting,
उनके पास
and एक रोल स्टेट एफए की. तो इससे एमिनेंट प्लेयर को भी मिल गया, इनको भी मिल गया. इनको 2 वोट्स मिल गई, ये भी खुश है. इनकी फीफा से ओके फाइन, यू नॉट इंक्रीज द बॉडी. They were happy, they were okay, they were silent about us giving votes to players. They wanted that no individual member should have votes. So we were first making eminent players will go and vote there. Now they will not. They will be representing their states only.
Yeah.
And they're coming from that state. That is why some states will only have 1 vote if they don't have that member according
Exactly.
to
So what's the other thing
Has
that FIFA
FIFA
wants?
said that the
So FIFA was happy with that. Okay. Then the other thing FIFA said was about following CAS. So what we did was that we'll follow CAS. See what happens with CAS is that
what is CASS?
CAS is the Court of Arbitration for Sports in Lausanne, Switzerland. So every decision is supposed to, I mean, after AIFF is supposed to go to them. That means you cannot go to courts in India. So we found that really, really arbitrary because it's not about that we don't believe in CAS. It's about CAS में जाने के लिए fees is $25,000 to apply. Now going there, hiring a lawyer, this, that, $100,000 guy. How many clubs or people in India can afford that, man? So you have to, when you have to have justice can't just be there. It has to be affordable and accessible to everybody, to the common man. That is why they said we want to come out with some kind of a solution before here, where it's out of the hands of AIFF, but with somebody of dispute resolution chamber, जैसे arbitration act के नीचे होती है. So we've given that inside that before it goes to CAS, so that there is some place where AIFF does not have power and it's done by a judicial officer like an ex-judge or somebody like that, and then if need be go there. Otherwise यहीं पे रुक जाती है. AIFF decision देता था, you can only appeal there. Then you're dead. You never used to appeal because either means going and spending 70 lakhs, winning or losing.
Right. So anything about the leagues?
सर आपने अभी पिछला जो पॉइंट आपने अभी जो
Nothing about leagues.
1 सेकंड
So
एक
FIFA was
मिनट
totally
जो आपने भी
silent on the
पिछला
leagues.
अविजय सिंह जो आपने पिछला पॉइंट बोला था ना, मेंबर्स का 2 वोट होगा पर स्टेट, तो उसमें आपने एक पॉइंट मेंशन किया था स्टार्टिंग में कि जो ये एमिनेंट पर्संस हैं, तो ये स्टेट एसोसिएशन चाहते थे कि हम ही इनको सिलेक्ट करें. वाज इट रिलेटेड टू दिस?
Yes. So they wanted कि eminent player की लिस्ट दे दो हमें, हम सेलेक्ट करेंगे किसको भेजना है. तो वो तो तुम उसको ही भेजोगे कि हाँ तुम्हारी बात मानेगा, जहाँ तेरे को हम बोलेंगे वोट करेगा, ठीक है हम तेरे को भेजेंगे. फिर फायदा क्या?
Now how are the players selected?
Now,
AIFF
suppose Omkar, you have 100 internationals and Ranjit has 99.
अच्छा,
So you
you
go
told
first.
us.
On the basis of the number of games.
Yeah,
Only
not
that.
seniority, but seniority of
नहीं, तो
international.
ये बोल रखा है, ये फीफा ने बोल दिया है कि दिस इज द क्राइटेरिया ऑफ सिलेक्टिंग.
No.
FIFA is okay with it, no?
They were silent. They were okay with it. So they had said that we have to decide the criteria. So like the criteria पहले हमने 15 internationals रखा, फिर को लगा कि 15 बहुत ज्यादा है, फिर 5 कर दिया. अब 5 करने के बाद हमने आज एक और नोटिफिकेशन निकाली है फिर ने कि एक भी खेला तो बताओ. So that if suppose there's a state which has somebody who's played one international, why should he be barred? At least he should be there. So we've even taken it down now to even one international.
Clear.
So with that,
इतना compromise करने के लिए
women
ready हैं.
woman and man, so 36 में से approximately 30 cover हो चुके हैं इससे, according to me. हाँ.
Right.
So it's
Yeah,
not that
sir-
it will be so much of a loss. और अगर आप जहाँ 6 ऐसे states हैं जहाँ पे इतना भी नहीं हुआ, they will have to be forced to, you know, move up.
Right. Sir, coming back to that league वाला part, FIFA का consideration upon the league, कौन सी league upper tier की हो, कौन सी second tier की हो, anything about that? FIFA कुछ
Imagine
कहता है इस बारे में?
there was a FIFA AFC apparent roadmap, but they didn't mention a word about it.
That's
They
our
didn't say
internal.
They didn't say that you have a MRA signed and to do this or follow this and you must do this. They didn't say a word on it.
Sir, do you think that the conclusion based on I League and ISL will come out by the time the leagues at least start? मतलब next 2 महीने में तो हो जाएगा क्या?
See भाई, leagues छोड़ो, leagues नहीं करानी, election करानी. Understand? I
Long
know
term.
fans don't care about it, but if you want Indian football to go forward, we need
Absolutely.
the new guy who's going to come in,
Right.
not to be of the same caliber and same shit which was the old thing, man. Otherwise, it's just shit replacing shit. And
Barabar.
fans don't realize that this is going to affect them not for 5 years. This is the guy who was going to come in, is going to be responsible for either handing back football to him for the next 20, 30, 50, 100 years for peanuts, or fighting this out and getting a better deal for Indian football. It's at a very, 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 very thin stage. Now, there's a stage where we can go on a very, very huge thing. Suppose if Reliance does not make it an ego problem and says, okay, fine, we really want a way out of this, the first thing COA will do is walk those 10 steps to meet them. I'm sure of it, man. They don't want bad things for Indian football. Otherwise, these guys, why would they be sitting till 3 a.m. every day, man? Why would they be doing that? They care. That is why they don't. And they listen to people, everyone. You know, I have never seen people used to come in from 20 different states and just walk into the office there to meet them. There's a disgruntled coach who's coming in, disgruntled player who's coming in. Nobody who came in was not allowed. Everybody was allowed. In fact, Blue Pilgrims ने उनको बोला वहाँ पे, उन्होंने कहा ठीक है भेजो, मैंने प्रिंट आउट लेके दिया. They went over each and every suggestion. And can you believe it, out of all the suggestions, other than the ones which were against the codes, they were all incorporated. In fact, there was one or two which was very original, which nobody had thought of, which were incorporated. Things like the benevolent funds for players who have been living in poverty and nobody cares about them. See, the next generation of footballers will come after they see that what you did to the greats of the last generation, how you
Right.
treat them when they are old.
How you treat your old heroes? हाँ.
And only then the parents would allow their kids to play football.
For example,
Barabar,
look at the cricketers. Even the guy who's played one test match or one day international gets a lakh a month. Why? Because Indian football cricket has so much of money. When will Indian football have so much of money? One day, yes. If you don't sell it off to other people, man.
Yeah.
See, it's not only about that team. It's about the entire ecosystem surviving, because when the ecosystem gets big, it should not just be one entity making the money. It should be the entire ecosystem making the money.
Right.
Mhm.
ये तरीका होता है.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Sir,
For
any
example-
positives
for example-
out of all of this?
For example, the Indian football fans, you decide. The national coach has been begging, and he's given proof. Okay, and I agree with him. By the way, everybody keeps on saying out Igor Stimac. I actually agree with this guy.
Yeah.
No matter who you are, even if you're Jose Mourinho or Alex Ferguson, if you give them a team, even of superstars, for 3 days or 2 days, nobody can make a team.
Yeah.
You give him a camp of 45 days, like you did before this, and we thrashed everybody because you could see them gel and play together proper football, what we love.
Absolutely.
Okay, when they, and this, okay, no matter where quality nahi thi, but this quality was higher than SAF Cup, yes or no?
Exactly.
Totally,
yes.
totally.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
absolutely.
Did you see the way we played in SAF? We played shit.
Yeah.
Okay, why? Because they all flew in from their nice little clubs straight into the airport.
Yeah.
They didn't even have one day together. That is why we drew against Sri Lanka, who was ranked 205 in the world. Because of what?
Absolutely.
Because of ISL clubs, because of FSDL, who care more about commercial than your national team. I guarantee it. Okay, if they don't, if they want to prove me wrong and say Ranjit Bajaj is a fraud, in the 2 FIFA windows this time, which we have, do you know how many days they've allowed? Let the people know about this. They've allowed 7 days. 7 days camp before you have an international match. Okay, now tell me, how are we supposed to get our fucking rankings up if you're going to give him 7 days? Obviously, you're going to get thrashed or lose, man. And then
Exactly.
the coach is bad.
And then
If
फिर
you give
न्यूज़पेपर
him,
रिपोर्ट करेगा कि इंडिया लॉस कर रही है, हार रही है,
yeah,
there's no point in
give him
support,
a
and
month.
लोग fans भी ये
Give
कहेंगे.
him 1 month.
हाँ.
Give him
Yeah.
1 month. And all it means is changing your timings and your match results. And who decides the schedule? You guys do, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Sir,
Hmm.
Premier
It's
League
not
में
even
तो
like
बड़ी
it's the
लीगों को
first time
कोई नहीं मिलता
happening.
है.
Exactly.
Okay,
बाहर
now
तो
why
सब
is
हो
this
ही रहा है.
happening?
Why is it like the problem here?
Why is this happening? Because the broadcaster owns the rights.
Exactly.
He decides the calendar according to commercial things कि क्रिकेट कब आएगा. उसके अलावा जब ये बाकी टाइम है फुटबॉल है. अच्छा, you can't go ऊपर नीचे. क्यों? IPL है यार. ये तो टेस्ट मैच है यार. ये वनडे है यार. तो यही दिखाना है. तो इसीलिए India is suffering because it's owned by the broadcaster and he decides the rights. And now FIFA window में we get 7 days of camps.
और सर कौन सी टीम के अगेंस्ट हम फ्रेंडली खेले, एनी आइडिया? बिकॉज़ मैंने सर्च करना चाहा, मुझे कोई फ्रेंडली फिक्चर्स नहीं मिले इंडिया के.
Igor has apparently arranged matches against Croatia.
What?
He's apparently going to Kerala Blasters. From there, he's going to play a match there. If things go well, go all the way there.
Sir, Croatia, why will they play a friendly against India just before the World Cup? मतलब
because of him. Even if you go and play, see, even if you go and play a second team there, that's good.
बहुत है, बहुत
You
अच्छा
understand?
है.
बहुत
Now,
बढ़िया है.
हाँ.
okay, other people,
World Cup finals.
other things. We've got other teams who have written to AIFF that they want to play. इस टाइम पे इंटरकॉन्टिनेंटल कप होता था, ठीक है? That's the best thing to do at this time. Have in 2 international friendly dates, you can have 3 international friendlies because you can get 3 countries have a 4 international intercontinental cup. We told them, so why can't ISL spend money there? Why can't FSDL spend money? Why can't now? Why? Because Hero was the sponsor last time, and they gave 8 crores. Why can't FSDL do it? You own Indian football, so why don't you do it? Why don't you revive the Federation Cup, the Rover Cup, all these cups? Okay, like what else has they done? They made PSUs a member, man, associate members. Okay, you can't vote, but now PSUs will be allowed to play in the Santosh Trophy because of this.
Wow.
अब देखो नौकरियां कितनी खुलती हैं. अब देखो नौकरियां कितनी खुलती हैं. They made it a law. They put it in there that you have to revive 6 major tournaments of India. AIFF, Federation Cup on again, Rovers Cup on again, Nike Cup on again. They're going to make sure all these become part of the calendar, including Duran and IFA Shield. They're going to make sure, so they're going to have one in North, East, West, South. सारे जो पुराने सारे revive करने के लिए बोल दिए. This COA has been the best blessing in disguise for Indian football because they actually listened to the real people and they decided कि ये बंदा पैसों के लिए बोल रहा है, ये बंदा साला.
Exactly.
You came to know immediately.
सर चेहरा देख के पता चल जाता है.
हाँ.
सर मुझे और एक सवाल है.
फायदा ये हुआ कि जो कुरैशी सर हैं, he's already seen all this shit in 3 sports. He was with the Archery Association, and then after that he played in the Indian hockey. He's doing it, and now he's doing the same thing. So he's seen all this. It's not that he's new to sports. It's not that somebody just been put in there. By the way, he was Ministry of Youth Affairs Secretary Sports, All India Secretary Sports Ministry of Youth Affairs, and he was also in Haryana, the head of sports here. So see, he's also had lot of things which have gone, and obviously then with a legal point of view is concerned, you have him, and then you have Bhaskar Ganguly, who's seen all the shit and he's been through all of it himself, and that is why he made sure that the players get in, and the players have a huge role, and they have a voting right, because after you retire, you're treated like shit, man.
Yeah. Omkar, you were asking something.
So yeah, my main doubt was is there something in the new constitution which provides the AIFF to prioritize the national team above the league so that the players don't need to come from leagues and spend 5 days together and have pathetic chemistry?
Apparently, FIFA says that the clubs have the rights over the players because they have contracts. It's all over. Okay, so that's why even other coaches have the same problem. But what the federations do, because they decide the calendar, they make sure the calendar in such a way that there are breaks. Whereas our federation, instead of trying to make sure there's breaks for national team, they just give it to the guy who's going to make the money of it.
Right.
So the guy who's going to make the money of it doesn't care. That is why do you think India matches not Stone and Star Sports? Because they know that they've made it worse for them and they're going to make sure they lose. If they actually wanted to do something about it, all they have to do is move the ISL up 15 days, man. Or late 15 days.
सर ये एक बड़ा पार्टी करना चाहते हैं ये ISL, ये एक बस एक सिंपल सा टूर्नामेंट है, वो एक है ना पार्टी कि यहाँ स्टार्ट किया अक्टूबर में, खत्म कर दिया फेब में, हो गया ये हमारा
पॉइंट ही है. सो ये ISL टीम्स तुम्हारे को लगती खुश है? दे नॉट हैप्पी. If they would they'll be happy.
Sir, a lot of players have said कि यार कि we are not happy with this, हमें 40 गेम चाहिए. सर Igor Stimac ने ये भी बोला कि the FSDL should make the calendar according to me. मैं जब कहूँ लीग रुके, मैं जब कहूँ लीग स्टार्ट हो, so that मेरे पास वो 15 दिन.
अब लोगों को लगा कि oh my god ये क्या ज्यादा बोलने लग गया. क्यों यार? वो किसके लिए बोल रहा है? उसने खुद की टीम करानी है अपनी. वो तुम्हारी नेशनल टीम के लिए बोल रहा है कि मेरे हिसाब से लीग चलेगी क्योंकि मैं नेशनल टीम कोच हूँ, तो मुझे इतने दिन चाहिए. एंड लोग उसके पीछे बढ़ गए.
और सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग बात है कि उसका कॉन्ट्रैक्ट अभी खत्म हो रहा है सितंबर में. सो Stimac he is going to be free and if उसको दिखता नहीं है कि इंडिया would be working upon all of these requirements, तो why would he stay इतने मेस में?
He wouldn't. I'm telling you, we would lose. See, I'll tell you. एक तो होता ना, you heard of the term the beggars can't be choosers. ठीक है? एक तो तुम्हारे पास जेब में पैसे नहीं है. ऊपर से with the kind of state we are in, there's no coach who will want to come here. Third, our ranking is not that great that coach wants to come here. Fourth, the only coach which is here who's now started giving results finally, and not good results, great results, what we always wanted, fucking top of the group, winning all matches, आराम से qualifying for this, पता नहीं कब celebrating कब हुआ था last time, winning last minute matches, पता नहीं कब हुआ था last time यार. अब जाके वो हुआ है, अब तुम जाके उसके नीचे से सीढ़ी खींच रहे हो. So you're making it worse. You're actually, cutting the branch you're sitting on, because what do you expect? So you're going to get a new coach. He's going to come and know all the boys within 3 months. He's going to become an expert on all of them. Then you're going to give him 7 days of a camp before the international friendly to do his first match. Make him play that. Then you're going to take him to the Asian Cup and say, again. Okay, now beat UAE, who beat you 6-0 earlier, and then you beat Iran, who's the best team in India. So you're setting yourself up.
So don't you think that if the quality of the league improves in the country, that will ultimately have an effect on the international team as well? So if we are focusing on,
when you say quality of the league, you mean game time for our Indians for a longer time.
Yeah.
How does that happen? For example, now Manveer Singh as a striker started playing well because the rule was applied and they reduced the number of foreigners in the ISL. He started getting game time, and that's what happened. He started scoring goals. Otherwise, he used to be used as a sub. Now with more
development players का भी एक rule था वहाँ पे that they have to keep 2 development players in their team and reserve उनको bench पे रखना पड़ेगा. That also helped.
Okay, now making that rule even better, and I've been saying it for a very long time, even though it means that I am going to kill my own business. I've been saying developmental players should be your players who are developed by your own academy. Not buddy developed by anybody else. Stop going and buying players from other people.
Right.
You've got so much of money. Development players, they have to have at least 3 years in your academy. And 20% of them have to be yours. I know I'm killing my business because everybody buys players from me. But the whole point is, unless we have 100 Minervas, we will not be there. And that's the only way to do it. Suppose you force them, 20% of your team has to be from your own academy. You think they will not invest in their academy? They will.
Sir, Manchester United की overall history में ना उनके जितने players खेले हैं 50% they have been from the academy.
50% छोड़, आज तक 100 साल में कोई ऐसा मैच 60 years में कोई ऐसा मैच नहीं हुआ जहाँ पे मैन्यू का प्रोडक्ट उनकी एकेडमी से उनके फर्स्ट 11 में ना हुआ, स्टार्ट किया हुआ. आज तक कभी हुआ ही नहीं है ऐसा.
हुआ ही नहीं है, हाँ बिल्कुल.
Now imagine that the amount of money these guys have, they don't need to have an academy.
Exactly.
And still their academy is so good that is for the last 60 years it's never been an international. So imagine, are they stupid? When they have so much of money, they're still going. Okay, look at Man City. They have so much of money. So much of money. They are building the world's best academy. Go and see the centers they have. The same way with PSG. They're making the best academy in the world.
हाँ
So
हाँ
why do the clubs who are the best go and start? Do they spend money only on the best players, or do they spend as heavily on their youth? They do na.
सबसे पहला होता है
and they
priority
can
academy,
spend. Yeah,
and they can
academy.
spend. वो कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, they can buy anything, anyone,
Okay,
but they
for
are
example,
always
now
investing on the academies.
I'll give you an example. If they actually cared about football, now development of Indian football, it was not in the contracts of the ISL clubs when they signed with Reliance that you have to have an under 13, 15, 18 team. Because of AFC licensing criteria, that became compulsory. I-League used to always have that. 4 years ago, this made it compulsory for ISL clubs. Now, imagine they had to make it compulsory. Otherwise, they didn't want to do it. And they still didn't want to do it, so they had to pay them 2 crores a year. So for
And
the
now they are
last
being wasted on transfers.
So for the last 6 years, exactly, Omkar. For the last 6 years, each of these clubs have got 2 crores a year, each for running the 13, 15, 18 teams. Now imagine what that means. That means 20 crores a year, which goes into development of youth players of ISL. Okay. How many players has ISL academies produced till now for India?
Hinga.
So where's the money going? How much money have I spent in the last 7 years when they have spent 20 a year, so into 4, around 80. When they've spent 80 crores in the last 4 years, I have spent what, 7, 8 crores, and I have produced 50% of all international teams. So I'm saying I'm not a genius. It's not rocket science. It's very, very, very simple. Invest on the youth, you will get.
Exactly.
Why?
I've seen
Because
it with my own eyes.
it's proven by everybody, man. It's proven by the whole world. And I'm just so ashamed that Vietnam is going to get there to the World Cup before us when they were so behind us in 2010. They're going to be so ahead of us in 2030. And when is the
That is the
time?
point, sir.
2010,
Yeah.
2010 May is the ISL was signed, and Sunil Chetri's hat trick beat them. And in 2020, they're ranked number 3 in Asia in under 18 and number 1 in Asia in under 16. That team is going to go and win the World Cup, if not in the semi-finals. Mark my words, I'm not kidding. That one academy which they have, how did it start? So they used to get FIFA funds. Who? All of us, even India. So अब मैं बैठा हूँ AFM हाउस में तो वहाँ देखा FIFA फंड का क्या किया, नेशनल सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस खोला इन्होंने. अभी तक 4 साल हो गए, इनसे अभी बन ही रहा है, अभी तक खुला ही नहीं है. उन्होंने क्या किया जब उनको मिला था 2015 में, उन्होंने एक वर्ल्ड क्लास एकेडमी खोल दी. So number 1 is now in the entire world ranking is Ajax. Number 2 is La Masia in Barcelona. Number 3 is Aspire, and number 4 is PVF in Vietnam. And from that academy, number 4, and from that one
Even
academy,
top 10 में भी हो भी चलेगा.
bro, they were
काम तो
one
कर
match
रहा है.
away this time. They were one match away from the World Cup this time. The average age of the Vietnamese team was 21 and a half. They lost the last match, I think, to China. I don't know who they lost to. And that went out. But 21 and a half. So guaranteed next time they're through.
Khatam.
And guaranteed in 6 years they'll be showing world-class results. So it's not rocket science. Anyone can do it.
Also, sir, do you feel that this, not condition exactly, but the concept where a person has to play in the ISL to be in the national team really slows down progress? Because we see talents in the Durand Cup, we see them in various state leagues, but the player then has to be transferred to another ISL team to play
And
for
then
the national team, like Anwar.
have the same kind of form all over again. And
Yeah,
then do it.
exactly.
It's
Prove
about
himself
form.
again.
It's form. When a striker has form, you get him into the team because he knows the back of the net. Okay, and there were so many times in the I-League where there were strikers who've been taken there and just put on the bench there.
Yeah.
And he's the guy who scored against them in the Super Cup or in the Durand Cup or in the ISL. Oh, he's very, very good. Put him on the bench.
Just उसको feel दे देते हैं.
But the point is you kill the player na. Now if you have 20 clubs, imagine, if you have 20 clubs playing, उसको game time मिल रहा होता कहीं पे उसी लीग में.
Yeah.
Because जो बंदा 10 क्लब की लीग है और जो टॉप 20 में टॉप 10 में नहीं आ रहा, उनके बेंच पे आ रहा है, वो कहाँ जाएगा? टू वीकर टीम नीचे जाके उनके टॉप 10.
Exactly. That's what rotation is.
Game time. Yeah, so game time अभी हमारे कितने प्लेयर को मिल रहा है? 40-50. बिकॉज 4-5 इंडियन होते हैं हर टीम में. हमारे 100 प्लेयर को गेम टाइम मिलता, तो हमारा पूल ऑटोमेटिकली जब 20 टीमें होगी, हमारा पूल ऑटोमेटिकली डबल है. डबल. उसके बाद सेकंड डिवीजन में भी डबल है. because वहां पे भी 20 टीमें हमारी.
सब प्रैक्टिस मेक्स परफेक्ट, इतना सिंपल सी ये
Also,
लाइन है, पर
sir,
इसी का
if
इस्तेमाल नहीं किया था.
if we increase the number of matches एक लीग में, तो हर एक मैच का इंपॉर्टेंस थोड़ा कम हो जाता है, तो एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन का स्कोप रहता है और ज्यादा प्लेयर्स ट्राई आउट कर सकते हैं.
Right now, understand, you over a longer period of time, you not only experiment more, you give more debuts, you give more chances, you get more game time, you get actual proper stuff. I mean, suppose somebody's playing in I League, he's playing 100,000, he's playing thousand minutes. He's actually playing 2,000 minutes, and that's a Zameen
Yeah,
Asman difference.
Hmm.
That's
Double,
double the
yeah.
season. Double the season.
Mhm.
And 2,000 minutes is even if you're playing 50 minutes a match. So if you have to understand that game time is the only way to develop a player at any stage of his life, starting from
Hmm.
5 to even 35. Moment you put a player, doesn't matter how good he is, on the bench for a year, he is ruined. Why is he ruined? Again, not rocket science. See, if you have got a skill, you've got a skill because you practice it every single day and you're doing very well. If you stop practicing that skill, you don't have that skill anymore, or you're not that good at it anymore. Yes, you still have it after 1 year, but you won't be that good, na? So it's again simple logic, man. If you're good at something, you make the person keep doing it, even doing it more, not less. अब नीरज चोपड़ा गोल्ड मेडल जीत के घर बैठ जाता, अब तो गोल्ड मेडल जीत लिया मैंने. You think he would have won the gold medal next time? No, he's going and beating that, and he's already taken it up by 2 meters. He's almost touching 90 meters now. Because he
PV
knows he
Sandhu,
wants
sir. Yeah.
man. So again, the same logic applies here. You got to play more. How do you play more? You can only do that with more teams. So you got to take the band-aid off. Ya to aaram se nikalo, you snip it off like this, and make sure you force the commercial partner to be a commercial partner, and make sure he markets the game and gets the money in the game. That's his job. His job is not to make money off the game. His job is to make money for the game for India.
Okay. Sir, I had a really, this might be a basic doubt, but I'm not sure, so I'll ask you. The constitution can't tell teams that they have to compulsorily spend money on academies, can it? Or
No,
does
the constitution can't say it.
Mhm.
But the rules of the competition can.
Yeah.
They do. Which the I League and AFC rules for licensing do. That is why the ISL people, because to become the league, to get that top spot, they had to follow the rules and have an under 13, 15. If they didn't want the AFC, that's why they were not going to have the 13, 15, 18. They're not in the contract.
Yeah.
So in the I League, in the competitions contract, it says you have to have an academy, and to pass the licensing criteria, it has to be running academy. It has to participate in the 13, 15, 18 if you're in the I League or in the second division or in the top league of the country. Earlier, jo tha. Now, if you're in any of the top leagues, you have to have an academy which has to have 13, 15, 18.
Sir, in ISL Reserve League, this is also up and running from this season, right?
Yes, it's up and running from this season. Again, it's a private league. So why not add I League teams to it?
Exactly, ये मेरा क्वेश्चन था, मैं इसी पे बिल्ड कर रहा था कि if there's a merger, if I League clubs are there, तो will the I League clubs be allowed to play with the reserve league, और कि उधर भी फंस होगा?
Probably going to be the opposite, na. It's going to be will we allow ISL clubs to play in the I League?
Yeah, right.
That's what it's going to be. Because that's not going to happen anymore. If the Supreme Court says this contract, okay, fine, look into the legality of it, and that battle starts, then what the COA will do is come to an agreement probably with them and say, okay, fine, let's have one league. And see, they don't want to get rid of this league or that league, but they want to make it fair. Just because somebody is poor, and he's as good, you can't say you stay down, especially in a country like India, man. Okay, if you have merit, and on top of that in sports, and where merit is the only thing which counts in sports, that's why people love it, because this is a place where rich can be taken down, man. Then you have a sport
The underdog story.
and then you're saying, the National Federation is saying, no, you can't do this. Then you've got a product right in front of you. I said, by the way, so then they say, we want to buy till 2040. Who? Reliance. And their जो इनका BCCI rights है, there for 4 years, Viacom has paid 30,000 crores. Who's Viacom? Reliance. 30,000 crores. And they have a problem, and they say they'll sue us for 70 crores. इनको ये problem. So point is that you've got to look at these companies and say, what the hell are you doing, and stand up to them on their face.
Right.
Okay, because the whole point is no one has the guts to stand up to them because they think that they run the country. But unless you have people in democracy standing up and saying it on their face that you cannot buy me or buy my country or buy my sport, they will obviously do it. There has to be people standing up and saying you cannot do this, man.
Mhm.
You
Need to
just
be
cannot
aware
do
of
this.
these things, yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
You want to? Yes, do it. Give us a good offer, man. Give us some raise. Give us double the money. How can you give us the same money then and then? The contract is totally illegal. And if you want to take it over, develop our youth, develop the entire thing. So there's so many points which they can do, and it's not that they don't have the money. It's a matter like they want
So
to
are
do
there
it.
any parties interested to breaking this contract with FSDL and to
Yes, not
renegotiate with
only
all of them?
one. There are so many companies who have
So,
been
matlab,
approached
I
to pay
didn't
that.
understand. Breaking the contract means I didn't understand this
There's
part.
so many. Suppose what happens is that I think that's what he means. That if this contract is broken, what will happen is that Reliance will go to court.
Mm.
If the court decides that yes, this contract was invalid, the contract is broken. Now
Mm.
then we are open. Will someone sponsor Indian football? There are
Yeah.
5 or 6 companies who I know right now who will pay more than what Reliance is paying
Mm.
immediately,
And they won't take up the rights.
and they don't want to own Indian football. I'm talking about just
Mhm.
marketing and commercial
Who
rights.
wants to help? Who really wants to see us grow?
No, who wants to make money out of it, man? But pay us
So, but
this much
what
and
if the
that's it.
money they don't invest? वो money का
They're going to
utilization नहीं हो
pay
पाया तो?
AFF the money, yeah. AFF will do whatever they want. They're going to
Yep.
get the rights. Rights for what? They're going to get the rights for our top league, for our second division, for our third division, and for India matches. They'll make money from those things,
Right.
not by running Indian football. No?
Yeah.
Mm. I think that has been
And
the issue the entire
for
time.
example, somebody like an Adani,
Yeah.
with just one stroke, he can be the most popular person in Indian football, and all you have to do is give 100 crores a year.
Which you can very easily.
Easily, yeah.
So, and how many people, and because the way Indian football is, 100 crores is nothing for at least 1,000 business houses in India. Hero's been doing it without even taking anything from us for the last 30 years, supporting Indian football for free. Without
And
even taking
it's not like the 100 crore won't have returns. It will have returns after some time and maybe bigger returns.
Man,
So
you
it
do a
is.
50-50 partnership, yeah. Tell the federation that, okay, if I make money, you make money. If I make 1,000 crores, you make 500, I make 500. The federation will go for it, na? Why won't they go for it? But if you say, even if I make 50,000 crores, you still make 50 crores, even after 20 years. How's that fair for Indian football? Because not a club. You do that with my club and I'm desperate, fine. You can't do that with the country, man. It's your nation. You can't sell your nation's rights off for 40 years. Because
Yeah.
they are for tomorrow. It will, and because why? Because ask these fans who are standing up, does this football belong to you? What about your son, who's in 2040, asks you, Dad, why the fuck didn't you protest then? When these buggers, my grandfather's woman's people, sold Indian football for 30 years. Why didn't you protest? So all these fans who are saying they want to see it now, your children will be asking you this. Because your children will still be suffering for the same shit in 2040. Understand, 2040, man, is 18 years from now. So you've got to stand up for it sometime, man. You've got to stand up for what's right, not just what's in front of you. So, and they saw it. They saw what was happening, and something has been done. You have to, if they didn't stand up for it, tomorrow in the history of Indian football and the pages, it will be written one day, man. You think history is always written later, na? History will say how these guys did this, how they managed to be corrupt, how the guy who was working for Reliance became the general secretary of AIFF. In 2010, he was working there. 2011, he became general secretary, then signed this illegal contract till 2040, but didn't tell the whole world. In fact, in 2017, Praful came out with a video saying the I League is the top league of the country. ISL is just a 40-day tournament.
Yeah.
So, all these things lying to the public blatantly on your face, knowing that you've signed away every right of Indian football till 2040. What right did he have? He was president for 4 years. What right did he have to sell away Indian football till 2040? He's not even going to be alive, man. So how can you sell away Indian football for something which is beyond even your lifetime? Forget your term. How is it okay? People are finding it okay. I can't understand how.
So can you tell me what
At
exactly
least don't
triggered
care
the
about Indian football. See, if they had said, "No, we bought the league rights. Okay, we bought the top league." They bought Indian football, everything to do with it. The
Yes, yes.
national team, everything they bought. That is what I have a problem with. They don't even own one league. It's not even one league. They own I League also. They own second division also. They own Santosh Trophy also. They own the national team under 13, 15, 18 also. They own the women's team also. But
But
who
why
is
And
the
would
they are
only
only
money
bound to
which
pay
is
75 crores
yeah,
for
yeah,
per
all
year
that's
this?
it.
Yeah,
up till
that's it.
But
2040.
why
Till
would
24.
someone sign such a disadvantageous
Yeah,
contract? Were
exactly.
they desperate? Were they so
It's a
desperate to
scam.
get the people's PR due to the
No,
new
they're
league?
corrupt. No, bro, they're corrupt. I
So
have proven
wouldn't
it.
they have made
They
more
have
money
been
अगर
giving
कोई better
astrology.
offer sign
Bro,
किया
they have
होता?
been. Bhai, the guy who signed that contract is the same guy who signed the astrology contract. 24 लाख का astrologer लिया था. तो मुझे समझ नहीं आता कि मैं अपना वर्ल्ड कप बैच 2034 बना के क्यों बैठा हूँ. मेरे को पंडित जी को बुलाना चाहिए और बोलना चाहिए भाई साहब पहुंचे या नहीं पहुंचे बंद करो क्या पाए. So, and okay, now 24 lakhs is something. Imagine, I have traveled to 3 or 4 nationals. One in Purnia, Bihar. I went to Agartala, Tripura. So great places, but really far off from Chandigarh. You should take 3 days to reach there. And we never used to have reserve compartments. And all the boys and girls who've traveled in nationals know that. 24 lakhs would have taken care of 24 teams travel, the entire nationals for one thing, or could have taken care of the entire expenditure of keeping 15 people for the entire year, sponsoring them 100% from the poorest of families. Gave to astrology, not for actual astrology, it is something else. The same way, these academies, why don't academies open? Okay, I'll tell you why. Because people like me are very few and far between who will take up the fight to them. Academies came to know that moment we produce players, what happens is India team takes them. And then they keep them there, they don't send them back for 2 years. And then they make them sign contracts which say that we don't want to be with that team and we want to be with Arrows. Then after playing for Arrows for 1 year, Arrows sells them to an ISL club.
Yeah.
And AIFF takes the money. Okay, if AIFF takes the money, good enough, at least they'll spend it back into Indian football. What happens there? From that, 20% commission goes to somebody. And that person is again traced to the same person who's signing the contracts.
Sir, what about a team जिसने
They've sold
player
3 of my
बनाया?
players. They've sold 3 of Narinder Gehlot, Gibson Singh, who I went and scouted from Manipur myself. I personally did. And Vikram Pratap Singh. So all these 3 boys have been in my academy for over 5 years. I got 0. They got over 1.5 crore, and the guys who were taking money from him got 20 lakhs. So why will an academy open?
So, but there has to be a better way of Indian Arrows getting to them, right? मतलब अगर मैंने अपनी academy खोली, अगर registered है, if I have the license of the players and the rights, तो अगर मैं sell करता हूँ, तो I'll get some value out of it.
Exactly. That's why player compensation had to come in. And I told them I'll sue you if you don't bring it in, because I came to know about all these things. And this thing I came to know last year that they've done this, but I had no proof. Now I have proof. I have actual documents to prove that they have actually sold my players to ISL clubs, which did not belong to them.
So how do they poach the players? Let's say कि कोई एक academy X, how do Indian Arrow get there, find the player, poach them, take them there, and then sell?
Suppose they come and ask me, okay, we want to play 3 of your under 18 boys in Arrows. I'll think, oh my God, great man, they'll get exposure and I'll be able to sell them for higher price because they'll be playing for Arrows. मैं भेज देता हूँ, उसके बाद कभी वापस ही नहीं आते हैं. अच्छा वो तो आएगा नहीं, क्यों? वो एमेच्योर है यार. एमेच्योर तो ऑर्डर 1 साल के लिए होता है यार. वो कंसेंट फॉर्म साइन कराना है यार. और वो कह रहा है कि मैंने खेलना नहीं तुम्हारे लिए. गया जी.
बच्चा है सर, और क्या?
So first nowadays, I make sure before I send my boy to the Arrows, I make sure it's a professional contract. Then I send him on loan. That's why all my players till Arrows have now gone on loan. I don't trust them anymore. And what a sad commentary to say I don't trust the Indian team.
Exactly. Sir, currently how many of your players are playing at Arrows on loan?
Last year, when it was still Minerva, we had 7. And now there's only 1 left, which is Himanshu. The other boys who are there with Arrows, who were mine with Round Glass, like Bikash Yumnam is there, then this boy called Chaman is there, Akshay is there, then Suranjit is there, Afoba is there, Haukip is
Anwar
there.
Ali also was a part of that.
Anwar was, yes. Anwar, Jackson, Vikram, all these people. Actually, Arrows have had at least 20 players of mine. But now they are in different clubs.
I want to ask you, what is the conclusion that you're going to give us today? Or maybe what is the purpose of the video? If we want to tell the people here that why,
See,
what is the point of this video? Yeah.
the purpose of this video is there's too much of misinformation going on. First of all, number one, the states are saying that we're going to get banned, and it's because of either COA or this or that. It's going to be because of them. I'm saying it on all their faces. Why? Because they're the only ones who've hired lawyers and they're going to court. And all of them are the ones who have problems. So I want to say to all the states that even if there's one problem of yours which is concerning football, great, you are right. But if all your problems are concerning how to get power and make sure you are in power next year, how is that right? And if you're willing to go to court, that means getting India banned in Indian football. Do you really deserve to be in power? That is why we're getting you people out. Simple. Second, about the league. The COA does not want the ISL or ISL clubs or I League or any league for that matter to be destroyed. We want there to be one league which has 20 teams, then another league which has 20 teams, and the third league which has 36 teams, which are the champions of all the states. So there's a
Yeah,
pyramid.
that sounds awesome.
Pyramid.
Perfect.
And this promotion and relegation
Structure
amongst
pyramid.
all.
Yeah.
Yes. And they don't care what you name the league. They are okay with it if everybody gets together and joins hands and does it. Okay. Then coming to the players. They wanted to make sure it's high time Indian football starts taking care of its players, because they are the one, because of what the game is for. The ones who will know the problems the best are players. The ones who will know how to solve them also are players. The ones who should be there at the topmost positions, because they know all this and they know what is the best thing for betterment of players, they are players. So they should have equal voting rights to any state. They should have equal voting rights to even be president if they want to be. Why not? Like BCCI has started getting players all over. The same way, we want that players are the ones who should be taking over state associations. In fact, they are the ones who should be running football in India. Yes, you need professionals to be helping. You hire those professionals. But even those professionals, even if they come from Harvard, he will not know what a football player really needs. Only a football player knows.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A guy will not know what a girl's problem is in football at all. They're totally different problems. So unless you get a woman player there, she will not be able to put her side. Till now, there have been no women players. There's been no representation. Now, what we have done is, in one blow, we made sure that there's equal representation and to all the stakeholders who deserve to be there. Stakeholders, see, the term used is stakeholders, the ones who have a stake. So fans. Why? Because every time, now there's going to be a thing that the fans are going to be listened to. They have an open voice to the AIFF. They made sure that in every, they put it in this, in every AGM, there can be a fans voted thing that can be discussed.
Yeah, sir. On the
For
site, a
discussion.
fan vote would be really awesome to have. Just a suggestion
so
box.
you could have that, and there's going to be voting for that. What kind of issues you want to bring up?
सबसे बढ़िया आइडिया लेके आप डिस्कस कर लेते हो.
Empowering women, empowering players, empowering coaches, because we're going to revolutionize coaching education for coaches and make it so goddamn cheap. That was my idea. So goddamn cheap that it's accessible for everyone. And if people don't have to think about it twice, and accessible, not only affordable, but accessible. That means
The
you don't have to go
constitution
to
includes coaching. Constitution includes rules about coaching. Yeah.
Yes. Then referees development. How? Because FIFA has made it mandatory that referees have to be run by referees. Who? The senior most, the international referees. India's had only 4 or 5. Trust me, you don't become a FIFA referee by corruption. You have to pass so many tests to get there. Now, we only have 4 or 5. None of them are ever involved in football. Why? Why not? Who are the ones running football? Who got referees? Who got nothing to do with referees? Who've never been a referee in their lives. So obviously the wrong people are running the wrong place. Then technical committee. There are no marketing partners in any committee. So the decisions which are taken by any committee, including technical committee, is only done on the basis of merit. Nothing to do with commercial partners or marketing things. See, because the moment marketing and commercial partners become part of your decision-making process, that's when you get screwed, because decisions are not being made for sporting merit, but for other reasons. Where your nation is concerned, where you're running a company, go ahead. Talking about your nation, man. Talking about your country. Profit is the last thing on your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on. And that is the first thing on their mind. And unfortunately, even the state FAs. The first thing on 90% of the states FAs are, and who am I talking about? I'm talking about all the states who don't do anything. The ones who are doing stuff, guaranteed, are the ones who've got players in their associations. And you see all the northeast states, you'll even see some of the south states who are still got some players in there. They are the ones who are still running leagues, making sure things are happening. Even if they are, no matter what you say about them, they're corrupt, they're this, at least some things are happening. Look at all the states which are not run by players. And look where they are. It's very simple to see the difference, man.
Sir, just a question. According to you, which are the best states FAs? मतलब just for us, if अगर हमें एक idea लगाना है तो.
What would you base best state FAs?
Like
We would base them
they have their
on the-
league. They have
they
no
have their
corruption.
Okay.
They have
So-
no problem in developing their players. Like proper functioning है grassroots का. And आप लोगों को और trouble नहीं होता है. मतलब at the topmost position, they're not a big problem.
I would say,
And they will have an international player in that eligible criteria.
I would say to be perfect, no leagues. There's no state like that. Except probably, I would say, I've heard great things about Mizoram. And I've heard great things about Mizoram. And I think it's probably possible because it's so small. But that's no excuse. There's such small states like Chandigarh, which is not there. And if you go to every state, there will be these problems. And it's not the state's fault, actually. You know that? Why? Because the constitution didn't expect them to do anything. Even if they didn't do anything at all, they were still allowed to vote. By the way, in Bengal, there's going to be a big hoo-ha about it. They've not read it properly. In Bengal and in Assam, you have not football associations, district football. You have district sports associations. Now, district sports association is supposed to look after all the sports.
Oh, bhai sir.
Oh.
So that guy is also going and voting in basketball, in hockey, in football, and you know where all? The entire Bengal and Assam, they're two states which give us good players, man.
Yeah.
They are, and imagine they are being limited and run by district sports associations. And the same association uses the same ground for cricket, for hockey. Why? Because they only have one ground. And they have one budget. So if I'm a cricketer and I'm the president of the DSO, why will I spend money on football? I will only spend on cricket.
Totally. Oh.
So we made sure the district football association has to be registered and only working for football. So ऐसी जो चीजें हमने लिखी हैं इसमें, 70% of the state FAs become defunct. Why do you think they're standing up to? 70%. Because 60%, 50% of them have people who've been ruling for more than 20 years. For example, Punjab. For example, Himachal, Chandigarh, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttar Pradesh. You go to Rajasthan, you go to Bengal, you go to Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, you go to probably even, I mean, you name, I can't even, you name the state and it's like that. So I can probably count on my fingers the states which have had proper elections in the last 8 years. Proper elections means anybody who's not been there for 20 years na is proper elections. जो 25 साल से आ रहा है ना उसको election, I can't count it as election.
So what do you
Right.
think is the ideal duty of the state FA now that there is a new constitution? What does a good state FA have to do to produce all the good players and
Okay, so
be
first
good
of
for
all,
the
they
country?
adopt this constitution, because if they don't, they'll be thrown out. They'll be disqualified from any. And a new state association will be given a chance. That means anyone who comes up and says, okay, we are willing to do this, and we have these many associations, and all these associations are legal entities, and all their members are also legal entities, that association will be given a chance. Then, another thing we put in. So they used to make the monopoly of not letting new clubs come in. So I've done this. Any state association which does not enter a club, if it fulfills the criteria and applies to you, within 3 months, automatically that guy gets membership. Within 1 year, automatically gets voting rights. So this quorum system of making sure the new guys don't come in because your votes are not stopped, and you have these fake clubs, and new people, new blood, young people who want to come up and invest in football are being stopped by these guys, is going to get stopped. Even AIFF had this power. They just never exercised it. Why?
Oh.
Because if you have to, then that guy will not vote for you. Otherwise, you can just tell him that, listen, you're doing something illegal. अगर तूने वोट नहीं किया तेरे को निकाल दूंगा. So 25 वोटें तो ऐसी मिलती थी उसको. जो 25 स्टेट तो काम करते नहीं थे. अगर मैं politician हूँ and I've got 20 criminals there and I'll say, okay, I will not send you to jail. Make sure you give me 1 crore a month. They'll do that. Otherwise, I'll send them to jail. And why will they do that? Because they are making that much more there. So how do state FAs make money? So every national team which goes, that means India women's nationals and men's nationals, Santosh Trophy and Women's League, they sell certificates, open secret. Why? These certificates get you jobs. So they're worth a lot. The gradation points, according to that, you get jobs. And what happens because of that? Because it's a money-making thing, the best boys and girls never go front. The ones who've got money, again, go in front. And then there's no one there to stop them. So now, with the players coming in, eminent players coming in, if this kind of a thing is happening, they'll immediately flag it. If they don't listen to the eminent players, they will not vote for them. Simple. They'll vote for the guy who makes sense to them.
Sir, how is the money distributed in all of these state FAs?
So you know what my idea was? For once, the states really love me for this. I said, the president should be the guy who gets 50 crores in. I'm just giving an example. Suppose 50 crores is my budget, 100 crores is my budget. Out of 100 crores, 36 crores goes to states. 1 crore each to each state. You don't just give it. So you say you can get up to 1 crore. How? You do your senior league, men's and women's, you get 20 lakhs from us. You do your under 13, 15, 18, you get another 20 lakhs. You do futsal, you get another 5 lakhs. You do 10, 20 referee courses, you get another 10 lakhs. A state can make up to 1 crore from us every year. Who will make? The ones who do more work. Simple.
मतलब पोस्टपेड सर्विस है, आप करो पैसा ले जाओ, बहुत इजी.
तुम उनको इंसेंटिवाइज करो ना. तुम्हारे को FSDL को देने की क्या लोड है? तुम इनको दो, अपने आप स्टेट काम करेंगे, पैसे कमाओ अपने. तुमने बीच में से कमाने ना, उसमें कमाओ, ये काम करो, हमारे से 1 करोड़ रुपए लेके जाओ. तो इससे क्या होएगा? तुम्हारा जो स्टेट लीग है, तुम्हारी सारी जूनियर लीग होगी. जो तुम्हारा चैंपियन है, तुम्हारे को सिर्फ फाइनल राउंड कराना है.
राइट.
अंडर 13 का भी, 15 का भी, 18 का भी, सिर्फ फाइनल राउंड कराना है. बाकी सारा कुछ हो गया तुम्हारा. कितने में? 25 करोड़ में क्या क्या हो गया? सारा कुछ A to Z. कितने रह गए? 25 करोड़ और खर्च कर दो. उसमें तुम्हारा सीनियर मेंस, विमेंस, अंडर 13, 15, 18 एक जगह पे आराम से हो जाएगा. Even you spend 5 crores, 5 crores, 5 crores, 5 crores, 5 crores on each thing for a 10-day, 20-day, 30-day final round. Easy. So, see, and 50 crores I've just taken care of the entire Indian football. And I've also given 1 crore in to each state to take care of the football. So where the fuck is the money going?
So currently अगर market पे देखें pricing क्या है courses की D, C, like if we go up till A, what's the pricing currently?
Don't count Minerva. But by the way, before Minerva came into the picture, a D license was 25,000, a C license was around 35, B was around 70, and A was not less than 1.5. After we've come into the picture, D we brought down to 12, now 10,000 for a D, including Khana Pina Rehna, out of which we pay 4 to AIFF, 1,000 to instructor, and 1,000 to state FA. So we get 4,000 for 7-day course. Okay. Then 20,000 we made for a C license, 20,000 for a goalkeeping license, which used to cost 40,000. Okay. So what we did was I used to ask, "Kitne ka hai?" And I just make 50%.
Wow.
And we still make money. Okay. By the way, we still make money of it. Yes, we don't make good, but we still make money. So it's not a loss. ये नहीं कि मैं loss कर रहा हूँ. I'm still making money of it. So these guys were treating it as a business. So what did the state FAs do? They forced and they went to Savio, and this AIFF coaching department went to Vishal Das कि ये कर रहे हैं. States are saying that हमारा money making तरीका था for getting the licenses, and this guy is doing it at 10,000. No one's coming to us. So you stop him. So AIFF, what did they do in their infinite wisdom? They made sure Minerva can only have 2 licenses a year now. Last year I did 12 D licenses. I did as much D licenses as the entire country put together. Okay? And they were the cheapest in the country. People used to come from Kerala, Manipur, Assam, all over. That means it was cheaper for them to come all the way here, do the license and go back, than do the license in their state. But they stopped it. And then they said, okay, you can only do it for local people. I said, but the whole point is to give it. We're not a local academy, we're a national academy. The whole point is to give this service to all the people all over India. So when the federation itself is mixed up and doesn't want this game to go forward, you can't do it. For example, Savio is great where it comes to coaching. But I have a very big complaint with him. He's been here for 9, 10 years. Why hasn't he made more instructors? He is an instructor trainer. That means he can make A and B licensed instructors. How many instructors has he made? 3. So how many people can take A and B licensed coaches in India? 3, including him. So that means you can never ever have more than a few number of licenses because there are only 3.
Yeah.
And what does it take? You just have to assist the guy twice, a licensed instructor, and he'll get qualified. And he's qualified to give it to them. So if we really wanted to make sure that we get exponential development, that's what should have been done. Now imagine
एक बार हम इन्वेस्ट करेंगे इंस्ट्रक्टर लाने में तो ही कम एंड ट्रेन आवर इंस्ट्रक्टर, फिर हमें नेक्स्ट टाइम लाने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी बिकॉज वी ऑलरेडी हैव दैट इंस्ट्रक्टर जिसके लिए हमने ऑलरेडी पे कर रखा है लास्ट ईयर, एंड फिर उससे हम फिर बाकी ट्रेनिंग्स करवा सकते हैं, we'll have a 400-500
yes, train the trainers. So you get a licensed trainer to train the A licensed trainers, not making coaches.
Yeah.
And that one guy who comes for 1 year will take care of us forever.
Yeah.
But now imagine if you give 4 crores, 3 crores, 5 crores for this year, imagine how much you can spend on one coach for a year and how much you can develop Indian football. मैं कह रहा हूँ 300 coach I can hire. 300 A license है ही नहीं इंडिया में. 300 है ही नहीं. Do you know that there are more
A license की level क्या हो सकती है इंडिया में?
Do you know there are more goalkeeping coaches in Japan than there are pro A, B, C, D in India.
Right, of course.
And who gave me these figures? One of the instructors of AIFF, Jeddy sir, who was one of my instructors in the C license, he gave me these figures. He was saying this is how far back we are.
Also, where
I
up
think
to
that
what
is the
extent
whole
the A
point,
level
yeah.
coach can go? Maximum किस authority तक A level coach can manage
मतलब
in India? मतलब A level, let's say कि a person has an A level coach. Where do we assume him to coach? कहाँ तक वो maximum coach कर सकता है?
You need to be a minimum A level to be an I League coach, or minimum A level, or second division coach, by the way.
Right.
So second division teams and I League teams you can only do if you're an A license. ISL you have to be a pro license. पहले तो you have to be a pro license Gora. Okay. Now finally they've stopped being racist towards Indians in India. Because पहले उनका rule था.
Intense.
हाँ, they were being racist towards Indians in India. Omkar and Mr. Gora has the same qualifications. But Omkar cannot be the coach because he's brown. That is the only explanation there was. Because if the qualifications are the fucking same, and you're not hiring Indians and only Goras, then you're racist towards Indians in India.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've started allowing, वो भी गलती से because Khalid Jamil बन गया था because उसको निकाल दिया था. Not because you actually wanted to. That was by mistake it happened. And by mistake, when it happened, the guy did so well. Next year they were forced to hammer. So it's not that Indians can't do well. वो मौका नहीं देते. They don't let Indians come up. And this entire ISL is being run by who? Goras. The entire thing is being run by Goras, man. From their CEO, he's a Gora. See, I've got nothing against Goras. But we are as good as Goras, man. We should stop looking down at us. For example, if you, in the same sport, the best analysts in the world are Indians. So that means the best football minds in the world who are working for Premier League clubs, the ones who actually think about football and know the best, are Indians.
Indians, totally.
So, I mean, you know, it's just a way of looking at stuff and stop looking at them as they're better. They're not. Getting an Indian as a chief coach. Now, this guy, Mahesh Gowli, okay? This poor guy has been, you know, worst thing would be, now Igor Stimac is great right now to be with us. Perfect. Do not fire him till the Asian Cup, please, man, at least. Because otherwise, you will get screwed, okay? Take it in writing. Even though he's costing so much of money, he's the right guy to have, right? Because timing is wrong. Timing ki baat ho rahi hai, okay? But the next coach should be Mahesh Gowli. Why? How long has he been the assistant coach for? Bloody 12 years, man. When are you going to promote him? When is he going to be ready? So you ask the players. Let's say he's a great guy. He can immediately take over. Why not? Why don't you give him a chance? And maybe he'll prove everybody wrong. So these kind of things can only happen when your marketing partner doesn't think the way they do. Because they think of optics. The last thing you need to think of is optics along how things are going to look on TV. So you mean to say having brown skin on the side looks bad on TV? That's why you don't do it? and you want to make money from us, from Indians. You coming and running our league, but you can't. You're telling us Indians cannot be the head coach. And I don't know why people just didn't stand up in arms and burn their offices, man. How can you even say this? Simple, man. It's so racist, and no one realized it. And now I'm saying all these things. See, these things are very open, and these things are still very, very open. You can tell me how many. Then they say no, so we don't limit teams. Only the best players. The best players are in the Indian team. They just happen to be in the ISL. Okay, till today, how many I League players have you selected in the I League in the Indian team? Zero. That means never has there been a player who's been better than any ISL player in any of those teams, in all the teams of I League. That means we should have never beaten an ISL team ever. Whereas every second match an I League team beats an ISL team. So again, looking at things from the wrong angle is to suit you. Understand, look out of the box, see what's happening, see what's happening around the globe. The entire fans stood up against this money and made sure the European Super League didn't happen. What do you think the ISL is? The European Super League is the ISL. There are 13 rich people who've got together and bought franchises. And that's why Mohan Bagan fans still have a fucking problem with it. Why do they have a problem with it? Because they've added that name and it's become a franchise.
Yeah.
They've lost the 100-year history. You go
Watered
into
down.
yes, it's not watered down. Okay, it's not watered down. You can't have ATK, a different club, Mohan Bagan, different club, 100 years history, 5 years history coming together and their histories don't become together. वो मोहन बगान पुराना था, वो पुराना है, एटीके अलग है, ये एटीके मोहन बगान नया क्लब बना है. Whereas you could have had Mohan Bagan, East Bengal, and ATK. If somebody was a football mind sitting there with a football heart, because each of these clubs had fans, even ATK did. When you did all this, the last persons you thought about were the fans. That is why you don't deserve to be in football, because you don't think about fans. That is why commercial partners should never be there, because they don't understand these things. And it's very, it's very simple, and that thing for us to say, oh my God, yaar, they can't think about this. No, they can't. See, they've been brought up in the best business school in the world. And the best business school in the world says all your decisions in life should be based on what? Money. Profits. Simple as that. Where you get profits, it's the right decision. Where you don't get, it's not right. So what is the best thing? ATK Mohan Bagan. What fans? For what fans? That doesn't matter in the balance books. What fans?
Yeah. उनके लिए पैसा सब कुछ है सर. फुटबॉल तो कुछ भी नहीं, और हमारे लिए फुटबॉल.
That is why we have only 7 days gap. When our national coach is telling us, after a great performance in the Asian Cup, please give me a chance, man. We can make India take forward. So why are you tying his hands behind his back? Why are you doing it? He's not even saying, give me 6 months to train with the Indian team. He's just saying, मुझे 15 दिन दे देना यार before my international FIFA friendly. नहीं, 7 दिन ले. 7 दिन का मतलब क्या है? Half the clubs don't even release on time. Maybe they have a match right before, so the next day he's tired, next day is training. By the time he comes, 2 दिन मैच हो जाते हैं.
निकल गए.
2-3 दिन जाने में what training will you do, man? In 3 days, 4 days.
नेपाल के साथ जब 2 मैचेस थे स्टार्टिंग में ऐसे ही हुआ था. पहले एक अलग टीम खेली.
Okay, I'll tell you what happens. If I have a match day after tomorrow, एक दिन पहले will only be very light training and probably set pieces. उससे एक दिन पहले will be very very light physical work. So 3 दिन तो मेरे निकल गए ना, और एक दिन ट्रैवलिंग का 3 दिन निकल गए. चौथे दिन मेरा मैच है. 3 दिन का मेरे को कैंप दिया इसने.
Right, sir.
Understand what a 7-day camp means? It's a 3-day camp.
3-day camp, yeah.
Sir, all right. I think we have got most of the data.
Sir,
I think
any conclusion you would like to give to the fans? Any message, about
conclusion is that, guys, understand, don't jump the gun. Wait, because अभी तो ये हो गया, oh my God, ये हो गया, ये हो जाएगा. Don't make any predictions. Just see what the court says, see what happens on that day, and once the court makes the decisions, then take an informed decision based on that decision कि क्या उन्होंने बोला है. पहली बोल रहे हो तो बैन हो जाएगा, ISL को होना चाहिए, I League को होना चाहिए, ये होना चाहिए. Doesn't matter what you all say, or I say, or any of you say. It's with the court now, the Supreme Court, which is, you understand that court is the one which is deciding everything, not only for us but for the entire country on every decision. And if we respect it, and by the way, I do really respect Supreme Court. They've always saved this country when we needed it the most. When we thought everything else is being sold and everything else is screwed and everything else is bought over, they used to come up with the right thing. Even though against amazing odds and amazing opposition. So trust them. Trust the COA because they've got no second motive. They have no other motives other than Indian football. They're not getting any money for this. Okay, they're not getting any faida for this. They're not getting any profit for this in any way whatsoever. So you have to always see कि इस बंदे का vested interest क्या है. That's why when I went there, I told them, listen, I don't have a club in the I League. Okay, so even his promotion league does not help me at all in any way whatsoever. And I have never been part of any executive committee, nor do I want to be, and nor do I want to be standing for elections. Okay, the day I stand for elections, everyone will know about it pehle se, and I'll tell and I will not be standing. I'll only be there because everybody wants me to be there, because I'm not going to go in begging for votes from anyone. So I'm never going to be into this. That's why I've never been in this. My only thing is that this battle I fought, I've gone to court, is for the good of Indian football, and we need to have a pyramid system. So that was my plea. Before we came to know all these things, my plea was just to make sure that this roadmap is followed 100%. But I wanted it followed faster. Then I wanted 4 or 5 clubs moved up immediately, and then 2 a year immediately after that, so that in 3-4 years we have 20 clubs. That was my plan actually. That's what I wanted to happen. But when the COA saw this happening, that they've sold it till 2040, they said, how can we allow that? When the Supreme Court has told us we're supposed to go and look at the functioning of this and see and check the corruption which has been happening. So now, how do you know? You're saying, how can they have sold off this football rights for 2040? How do you know they were not paid money to do it? How do you know? Because any sane person would not have signed this contract. It does not make sense at all from the AFF side. Yes, it makes great sense from the business side. But all the AFF people have signed, so how does it make sense? So why do you think there has to be a big investigation on this? And unless you do that, how are you doing right to Indian football if you just leave it in the hands till 2040, 70 crores a year? Do you know what it means? Do you know what 50 crores a year mean? Because the value of 50 crores in 5 years will be 40 or 30. And in 10 years will be 10. Okay? In 20 years, value of 50 crores will not be more than 5 crores. And basically, you are going to get 5 crores. Yes.
And,
what is
and the
50
70
crores
crores is a
today?
constant. Oh my God,
Yes.
huh?
Yeah.
Do you understand that 50 crores today in 2040 is not more than 5 crores? And for 5 crores, तुम 2040 में क्या करोगे?
So
4
why?
crore की तो salary है Igor Stimac की.
A sane man will never make a decision like this. There has to be an investigation upon this. कि ये कैसे हुआ? And of course, मुझे लगता है Supreme Court would.
You were saying it's okay. I'm saying वो ISL भी नहीं run होएगा भाई. 5 crore में तो कुछ नहीं होता. Under 13, 15, 18 league भी नहीं होने वाली 5 crore में 2040 में. So that's what it is. So that is why we have to wait for the right decision to come on and support the end of the day. Forget about support ISL, I League. Support one league. Say everybody should have this in the league. We want one league. We want a pyramid structure. We want promotion, relegation. We want sporting merit should be the deciding factor. And the top league of the country should always be owned by the country. Simple.
Yes.
The top league of the country cannot be owned by a private. Tomorrow, Ambani becomes a German citizen. This league is owned by Germany. Tomorrow, if Ambani wants, he can sell this league to a German company. Then a top league of our country is owned by a third country. Yeah. And they decide who our national team coach is, and they decide who the champion is. See, understand where we can go with this when it's a private body owning the top league of the country. Please understand.
And who only wants to make money. उनका कोई और agenda ही नहीं है. So they can do anything.
And where is the proof? The proof is in the pudding. When I've shown you a contract till 2040, and they're going to pay the same amount they paid in 2040 that they were paying in 2010.
10.
Okay, 30 saal. So now imagine what you are getting as your salary today. Okay, what you were getting is pocket money when you were 5 years old. If that is given to you today, imagine that. मैं तुम्हारे को अपनी लाइफ में बता रहा हूँ 25 साल पहले कर लो, उनका तो 25 साल कभी नहीं होगा. कोका कोला कितने का था?
5 रुपए की बोतल लेके आ रहा था मैं.
अरे वही तो मैं कह रहा हूँ, याद तक नहीं है हमें. Petrol, I'm not kidding. Petrol 15 years ago used to be 10 rupees a litre. 100 rupees a litre in 15 years. You're talking about Indian football getting the same money in 2010 and 2040.
Oh,
How
That's
they-
insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. And wise mind will look at it and they will definitely rule against it. ये I'm hopeful.
And I think,
So that's what I'm
it is
saying. That is
important
why
that even
difficult for
fans
them.
know they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's why it's
Yeah.
difficult for them to go against this in court because
Yeah.
what will they say to the Supreme Court? कि हमने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किया to buy Indian football for this, देखो कितना अच्छा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किया हमने. ये क्या बोलेंगे?
Right.
बिल्कुल.
Nice. Thank you. I think
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a
Done,
great
guys.
convo, sir.
Thank you,
great.
guys. Thank
I
you
think
so much for hearing me out. And
Thank you, sir.
because I'm so comfortable, I've been able to let everything out and make sure that everybody gets it. Thank you so much, guys. Love you all. Jai.
Thank you, sir. Yes,
thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
Thank you
Yes.
so